Welcome
to the Bob and Tam show.
There you go. Pating to the nation
Nation.
out there. There you go. So, got a lot of things to talk about tonight, and we may have a guest come on tonight. We got somebody we invited to talk about rallies with us.
They said they'd come on, and we sent them the link, and no response.
Yeah. So we'll see if he comes on. About 15 minutes, he should come on. What we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about our rallies that we did this year. What do we think about them? Which ones are we thinking about doing next year? What new events are we going to next year? We're going to talk a little bit about Destination Daytona, the Harley dealer down there. We got a little more information today about why they're closing, and they actually closed today at 3 o'clock. So they're already closed now for till next
They
Tuesday.
have a couple of reasons, they say.
So we got a few things to tell you about that. So that'll be coming up too, to tell you a little bit about that. And what else I got on my paper to talk about?
Oh my gosh. Last year's rallies we went to. What day should we do the lives?
Oh yeah.
What are
So
we
we're going to talk
have?
about that. We're going to put a schedule. Well, I didn't. We're just giving a highlight now. You're not giving all the information out now. We're going to give you some choices. We're going to do some spotlight things, and we're going to ask for your opinions on those items. Oh, we're actually in the new garage.
Yes,
It's
we
not all
are.
done.
Run.
We got some banners we got hanging up in front of the 2x4s.
Yep.
So we've been gone all week.
Gotcha.
So we just got back today,
Yep.
and thought, hey, let's come over
Here's
here.
Emery.
We got the generator running outside. Hopefully you guys don't hear that. I had to move a little bit farther because it was picking up. Got our lights up here. Got the camera. Got the computer running off.
Got Charlie Dog.
Yep, we picked him up. He's hanging out with us till we go. I guess till January. Yeah, till Christmas. So pretty exciting. There's so we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We got some days we want to do some special things on, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. We'll see what you guys think, and we're going to let you guys kind of decide what days we do stuff. For one of the things we'll talk about while we're just slowly getting people on is our live.
Hey, Jim.
When I go back and look at our Wednesday lives, they're really not doing that well. And so I'm wondering if I look at my YouTube analytics, it says that I should be still doing it on Sundays, but maybe earlier in the day. Maybe our time would be 3 o'clock, between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Mountain time, depending on where you're at. And so that's something we're going to ask you guys. What do you think about maybe a Sunday? For us, it's a late afternoon. Some of you would be already getting into the evening time. So it'd be 3 o'clock. If it's 3 o'clock here, it's 2 o'clock in California. It's 4 o'clock over in the Central. It'll be 5 o'clock over on...
Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern time. So it'd already be coming on for you people over there on the East Coast. It'd already be 5 o'clock on Sunday. It'd be coming out. So think about that, and we'll ask you that a little bit later.
CNT boards are on tonight after we're done.
Think about all that, and let us know what you think about that. Some of the other specialty things we're looking at doing is we're thinking about doing 1 day a week to kind of already start up before we get the garage completely done, is have a tech day once a week. Talk about maybe products that I've used, products that I buy, just stuff that I'm really happy with. I've kind of asked you guys, but nobody really sent me anything. The things that you've maybe bought on Amazon that you really liked, or something you bought for your bike that you really thought it was a great deal. You're really happy with it. Not so much stuff that our vendors sell, but we do have a few things we want to talk about that we picked up, and we'll talk about those too on some of my tech days. So we're thinking about doing 1 day a week, having a tech day. Also looking at 1 day a week doing a garage day, talking about what we're doing in the garage, what we've done. We'll talk about that tonight. We got all out front, it's all done. So it looks pretty good. It's all wet, so it's kind of hard to see what it looks like. But it's supposed to harden down really good.
We need to get a roller, because I think he's just been driving his dump truck on it. So just there's like tire marks instead of
flat.
Yeah.
Guy next door's got a steamroller, or a
roller.
So I have to see what he charges.
Press roller, is that what they call it?
Yeah. But if you don't do it soon when it's dry, it ain't gonna make any difference. Once it dries up, it won't be able to. That'll just all mess.
Well, they say you have to wet it. They said the more wetter it gets and the more you drive on it, the harder it gets.
So it's supposed to be, I think they ran out of water the whole while we were gone. And it did rain here yesterday, so not as much as they had in California. So we'll see how that turns out. And hopefully we'll talk a little bit about if any of our Floridians come on and tell us about what's going on. If we
how you're doing all there
Brad
with the storm.
He's down there in that area where
supposed to hit the hardest.
It's only supposed to be a 1 now, but we're seeing some high waves are coming in. I think she's seen a picture on
that was down in Daytona. It was on Delaton ramp, I guess, if you know where Delaton is, and it goes all the way down into Port Orange. I think Port Orange is on one side and then Daytona's on the other. But if you go all the way down to the beach, it almost looked like it was ready to take the bathhouse off the seat.
Yeah. So if you're ever going down there where you drive on the beach and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't ride my motorcycle after we had the car on the beach. I wouldn't ride a motorcycle on the beach anyway. I'm not that. If I had a dirt bike, I would take it out there, but I'm not taking a street bike out on the beach.
The storms are coming here too, Steven said.
Yeah. So the whole East Coast is going to get some stuff. The only good thing is, if you want to say it's good, it's only a Category 1. So, but I think right now what's happening is a lot of rain. Somebody else texted her today and said they're predicting between 18 and 20 inches of rain. So that's a lot. California just had, I think they had about 5 or 6 inches yesterday over the last 2 days. And it was a lot. It flooded the streets and stuff for a short time. So we can relate a little bit with you on that. And so, yeah.
So our 6-year-old grandson was like, he got up and he didn't put his clothes on. He usually gets up right away, gets his clothes on, comes downstairs, eats.
He had his pajamas on.
Well, yeah.
He running around naked.
But I said, how come you're not dressed? And he looks at me and he's like, did you see outside? And I said, well, yeah, it's raining. He's like, can't go out in that, because they live in California. The kid's born and raised in California. He thinks you don't go out if it's raining.
He thought it was a hurricane coming.
It did get really windy there for a minute in the backyard. But anyway, there's Mon. Hey, Mon.
So we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. And so we're going to start off about a quarter till. We'll start talking about, we're going to see if our guest comes on. I'm going to start talking about the rallies we've done this year. And of course, we'll start off with number 1, which was Daytona. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. So what else we're looking for our specialty days is, so we're looking to do one day, do a live. If we maybe move it back to a Sunday afternoon, you guys think about that if you think that might work.
Only one person said something. They said as long as it wasn't on during a game.
Well, you never know when the game's going.
Because the game you might watch is early in the morning, and the game that somebody else might watch might be late in the afternoon. So.
It depends on where you live at, because it depends on the, how the football games are coming out. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Wednesdays just haven't really been that great. Not bad, but I mean, it hasn't been.
So where are you at, Tony?
We normally do our lives after we've done rallies and stuff. We usually get up close to 1,000 or a little over 1,000 views. Afterwards, sometimes they get up to 2,000 or 3,000. And
there's Neil.
So here it hasn't been doing so well on Wednesday. So that's why. And there's a lot of people that I know we're not seeing on Wednesday because I think they're still at work, or if you're on the West Coast here, it's still 5 o'clock. So if you worked in LA like Art, he's still driving home. So who knows when he'll get home. And
Neil's on, and it's 4 o'clock at his time.
Yeah. So Neil does. He's kind of semi. I guess I don't know if he's really retired. He's got so much other crap he does.
He does a lot of stuff.
And he's on the wild game
committee.
Yeah, and fish thing. And so I don't know if that's really retired either. It's like us. We're supposed to be retired, but I don't know if we're really retired yet or not.
Yeah.
So that's what we're just looking at, is making it more feasible for people to be able to get to us, because I think we're missing some of the people that we normally see on Sundays we're not seeing during the week. And it could be people that don't even watch football anyway.
It's noon in Australia, Mon says.
Oh, okay. And so we're just thinking about that. We're just trying to figure out the best day to get the best views from. Actually, we just did that one this morning.
Oh, no, last night.
Last night. See, that already went over 1,000, but I mean, it was a good topic. It was giving you some information about the destination Daytona, which we're going to talk about. Maybe we'll do in a few minutes if he doesn't come on soon, and see about that. But there's a lot of things going on, and so with the dealerships and stuff like that, we've reached out once again today to Destination Daytona. If it's Teddy Morris, if it's Bruce Rossmeyer, we did call today and they did answer the phone. Bruce Rossmeyer. So we did call a couple of the other stores. They did answer too, but nobody was in the other stores. So that's kind of weird that nobody answered. They said, leave a message and we'll call you back. So I don't know.
Well, the one I called, this number I had in my phone, which I thought was the main store, when they answered it, they said Bruce Rossmeyer's, and then they said, come see us at our address on blah, 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 Main Street in Daytona Beach. And so I thought, but
we thought maybe the number was already rolling over to that store. Maybe they were going to keep that store. So we don't have a lot of information. We'll talk about what we know, since we're kind of on that topic now about the dealership. I've had a few people reach out to me, and then we had our main info person that I'm getting most of my information from. The reason, one, they closed today at 3 o'clock because of the hurricane, because of the rain and stuff. They figured nobody's there. Let's get everybody home in case they want to leave, or because if you're living on the coast there, they're telling you within so many miles, leave. I think it's like 10 miles or something. I don't remember what they seen. I seen on the Weather Channel that was showing some stuff. So, which you should. you should leave. Why take a chance of drowning? You know, that's why you have insurance. Take your stuff you want to throw in your car and go inside inland someplace and get a motel and stay overnight, or find a friend in, farther inland, and stay safe. So what we found out is they're closing up in 3, and they will not open again till Tuesday. I think it's the 15th. What's going on during this time is they're doing a complete inventory of everything that's in the store. And I don't know if they're doing it in all the stores. I don't know what's going on. And the second thing they're doing is they're meeting with all the employees to let them know what is going on, and
training, orientation, I guess, what's going to change, what's not going to change.
So we'll know a little bit more as they go through that. We'll get a few of them to feedback to me and let me know.
It's November 30th. It's the new Smirnoff.
Oh yeah, new Smirnoff store is closing. Whatever, it's Smirnoff drink.
It ain't gonna be there no more.
Closing up on the end of the month. So November's it. You might want to go in there and see if they got some clothes. They're probably going to have a lot of closeout stuff. If they've already changed the signs, which we've been told by several people. We tried to get one of our good sources today that's really close there, somebody that works down the street, and they never called us back. So I don't know if they're working there. Maybe they left too because of the hurricane. I don't know.
They could have been, yeah.
Could have been. So they never called us back. So I wanted just them to take a quick look, and I know they've seen it. So
so that's where he got his Greek guide at. Must have been Destination Daytona or New Smyrna, one of the two. There's Daryl S. Illinois and Tennessee said they have good riding weather. They both went out on rides today.
There you go. Here we're in the 60s. I'm actually going to get up tomorrow morning. We'll talk a little about it. I didn't put that on the list. Taking the bike over to get looked at again. Remember I told you when we were in Sturgis, we got that, what's the thing called? Man of War? Man of War compensator put on. Okay.
It's by Dark Horse.
I'm really happy with the product, but I'm getting this really weird noise that sounds like a box of rocks. And so we took it out. If some of you have been following us, we took it to Las Vegas when we went and did their bike week that really wasn't going on, but it was a dealership, had some stuff going on. I never did put those videos up. I think we did a live from there, but that was about it. And it was okay. Just another event that are going on at dealerships. And so I found out that the dealer that I bought my bike from in Henderson, they actually sold the
Dark Horse
Man of War. They sold that too. And they said, and I said, oh wow, do you know a lot about it? And they're like, oh yeah, we've put quite a few of those on. Some of them talked to service, and they're like, yeah, we know pretty much about that. And I said, is there any chance, we got the YouTube channel, could you check it out, see what you guys think about it? Take it around the block, whatever. Well, they pulled it in, they took it apart, so they couldn't find anything wrong with it. They first were trying to tell me I needed a
bushing or bearing
inside the gearbox. And I'm like, no. The noise didn't come till after we put that on. So then when we were in Sturgis, we ended up going over to Speeds, and I talked to them, which I didn't have the bike. So I went over and talked to them. They said that we probably should have changed the chain on it. Okay. So they knew a guy over here in Kingman, Arizona, that they've dealt with for years. They know him too.
He's an ex-Marine. Well, he's not ex.
Kelly.
He's still Marine.
Kelly Performance Cycles. I've heard a lot about the guy before. I heard it's always about the best guy around here to take a bike to get dynoed. And so they called him on the phone, talked to him, and said, yeah, bring it out. We'll check it out. I'll look at it. So I called him a while ago and I said, hey, when do you want me to bring this up here in? He said, when do you want to do it? So I don't know, can we come in tomorrow morning? And he's like, bring it on down. Let's take it apart. Let's watch it go around. But he says it's not uncommon that he sells them too, that they are noisy for about 2,000 miles until they seat themselves in. So we'll see what they say. And because it seems to run fine, but it's just, especially at low speeds, when I first take off, it sounds like there's some bolts inside the transfer case bouncing around.
It's an independent dealer. It's not Kingman Mother Roads.
Yeah, no, we're not taking it to the Harley dealer. Nothing wrong with the Harley dealer. To be honest with you, I really don't get my bikes ever really worked on by the dealerships. Sorry, I just never, I don't know. Just never did. When I first bought my bike, my very first bike, I took it in, had an oil change done, and actually I think that's what stopped me from going. The dealership that I went to in California, I went in for an oil change, and it was a used bike that I bought. I bought it from Las Vegas, took it down there after I had a couple thousand miles on it, wanted to have an oil change done, and had it done, and took it back home. And about a day or two later, my brakes start making noise in the front. And I look at it, I'm like, I need new pads. So I went back up there and I said, did you guys look at my brakes while it was in here? And they're like, no, change your oil.
That's all you said?
I would have paid you to put the brake pads on. Now I'll buy the brake pads and I'll go put them on myself. But, so I was kind of I wasn't very happy about that. because I feel if you're bringing in your bike, they should give at least a once over. Looking at your brakes is an Einstein. It's not that hard to look. You don't have to pull it apart to look and see how thick the pads are. So it's pretty easy to see. Maybe on a full dress, you might have to pull a bag off. Well, how long is that going to take you? But it's like getting business back. So I don't know if that's really what it was. But a lot of times when I look at the dealerships, my problem always is it's just they're usually a lot more expensive than I thought. Not talking about just Harley. I sold Mac tools for a while. I was an auto mechanic for 25 years? I don't know, for a long time. And, I sold Mac tools at the end of my career of being an auto mechanic. Thought, let's go sell tools. I know all about tools. I could sell those. Well, when I started going to the dealerships, I worked at a dealership when I first got out of high school. Actually, when I was in high school, till about right when I got out of high school, was when they laid me off. Back in '79, when they couldn't sell those big giant Lincoln Continentals anymore. So I got laid off. So I never really got to spend a lot of time in the shop doing stuff. So I always thought dealer mechanics knew so much more than an ordinary mechanic that would be at a shop down the street here. Well, that ain't true. I'd stand in there and go in these shops with my tools, and I'd stand there and watch these guys, and I'm like, holy crap, does this guy know what he's doing? You see him, and it's what's nice. Well, it's not nice, but being in a dealership, you can be a parts replacer because you just go into the parts room, you get something, you bring it in, you try it out, it doesn't work, you go put it back in a box. You might go in there and buy that part, and its odds are they probably already used it in the shop, and it's not uncommon. So I got Tony. I just talked to Tony. He's picking up his Mustang today.
Oh, is he?
And I said, "It's fixed." He goes, "Nope." So he's added to the shop. The other day he was in there. It's
been in there like
in
6
Denver. Weeks. It won't pass emissions. So he's changed a bunch of parts. This guy's changed a bunch of parts on it. Still ain't doing it. What it is it's putting out too much carbon monoxide, I think is what he said it's doing. So when I was sitting there, he's like, well, the guy's telling me you might want to change the catalytic converters. I'm like, how does it run? And he's like, well, it runs really good. I said, then it's probably not clogged catalytic converters, because if you had a back pressure from the catalytic converters, you would know that by driving it. It wouldn't have any power, especially as hotter it gets. So I'm like, so when he told me it wasn't fixed, I said, you probably need to, I said, take it someplace to find out what the code is. Well, he says that the code is not being put on, it's being put into the computer. So I'm like, what is the code then? What are they telling you it is? So I don't know. But
you told them take it to AutoZone. They'll put it on a little thing and they'll tell you what the code is, and you look it up on your phone. Ask Google and he'll tell you. So Patsy, are you Mike's Patsy?
So
Patsy or Penny? I don't know.
We'll see. My comments aren't coming up.
Not the cats. I know.
Oh, there it is. So yeah. So I told him it's a Ford. I don't know if Fords are still like they were when I worked on Fords, where they were honeycomb. You take a screwdriver to them, poke a hole through them, and you see if it runs better. But he's over. I told him.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go. We might have our guest come on here real quick. And so that's what we're talking about with that is you just don't know. And it is tough. It's just like where we live now. There really isn't a decent mechanic shop around here for working on cars. I don't like to do a lot of, well, probably with the garage here, I'm changing out the truck. We're getting rid of the DEF. That's going down.
Smog, GS cap.
And,
oh, that could be too. Didn't we have trouble with what was going on with the Mustang? Our Mustang, it was the gas cap, remember?
It wasn't venting.
But I mean, something kept flashing.
Yeah. Well, that's common on cars
we had
today.
to get a new gas cap, and it was fine.
Well, it used to be they used to have the charcoal canisters, and they had trouble with those stupid things. I had one time, it was show you how long I've been working on cars. It was an AMC Pacer, and it was when I first kind of started working on cars, and I was like, man, I can't figure out what's wrong with the stupid thing. And we opened up the carburetor on it after we checked everything else out, and we're like, we can't, we dropped the gas tank because it's starving for gas. And we couldn't, drop the gas tank. We put a new sock on it, couldn't figure out what's wrong. Finally pulled the top of the carburetor. There was all this little black charcoal stuff in there. I'm like, what the hell has this come from? And I'm like, what are you asking
me?
So I'm not asking her. So there's I had an old guy that used to own the garage before I bought it. It was a gas station. And he used to come by. He says, let's look at the canister, charcoal canister. I'm like, oh, I pulled the hose off and it was just full. It had the diaphragm inside, it broke. It's kind of like if we had that happen on our water thing. What's that thing called? Yeah. Osmosis.
Yeah. That
the baffle broke inside. If you ever have that happen, you'll turn your osmosis faucet on and the water just barely comes out and then it stops. Well, it's because the diaphragm's gone. It's trying to fill up that little
cylinder.
Looks like a Freon barrel. So, all right.
We are.
So, is our guest ready to come on?
Give us a thumbs up.
Yep,
Okay.
he's ready. So who do we got coming on tonight?
Let's
We got
build it.
Amsoil Adams coming on. And we're going to talk a little bit
Let's
tonight.
call it a pregnant pinto.
We're going to talk about rallies. So here, you got to put your ear thing in so we can hear. We're in the garage. We didn't bring all our equipment.
I know. I said, oh, did you bring the earphones? He's like, no.
So I got to be able to hear him talk. Here he is.
Hey there.
Well, good morning, YouTube.
Good morning, YouTube.
It's
good
evening.
Regardless.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about tonight was our starting off with, and I thought it'd be good for you too, is we'll talk about the rallies we did this year and what you thought about the ones we did. So I'll start off with the first one we went to. First one we went to, I think the first one you went to too, was Daytona. So right. Daytona was pretty good this year. It started out really, really well. It was just the second half. It sucked because it rained and it got cold. But I mean, overall, it was pretty good other than getting wet. It was a little warmer than it had been the previous year because I seen pictures where we were in jackets the year before. So actually, it was warm enough at the beginning that really didn't have to wear jackets and stuff. And the crowd seemed to be pretty good. I didn't see any real hassle with the Daytona police. Main Street was still screwed up. Half the time they close it, and then next thing you know, here comes a dozen cars coming down it. So they never could get their act together, which they ended up saying was the only way they close the street down is if the police decide to stand at each end, then they'll do it. If they don't have the police, then they're going to let the street stay open, which was kind of stupid. But they did allow parking on the sidewalk, which the year before we had trouble with that. I guess the fall we had that trouble. So other than that went pretty good. Ross Myers, everything seemed to go pretty good. We did. A few people got kind of stuck there getting out of old Cackleberry on the last weekend after all that rain. It turns into, that mud pit. But I guess other than that, that's about all
we saw.
Yeah, we saw. So what did you think about the Daytona Spring Rally?
Well, I look at it from a slightly different point of view than you guys do because we're there to make money. It's our business. We're not there on vacation. I'm not even there to YouTube. I'm there to run my business, and I just happen to YouTube while we're there, So financially, Daytona in the spring has been one of those shows that has always grown for us. I mean, it's the longest show I've done because that's where I started because my shop was originally in Orlando area. So when I started working the rally, it was Daytona. And we've got the largest clientele there as well. So it just seems like every year we do better. So from my perspective, it was fantastic. But I agree, the second half of the week did fall off. The weather slowed things down to that second half, but we were so far ahead of the game before that happened that, the potential could have been there to make more, but we did very well, and we did better than we did the spring before. Of course, the spring before is when COVID hit, and it was down compared to the year before that, but I have absolutely no complaints with it. It was a very good rally for us.
Okay.
Well, one other thing we want to do too, Adam's real close to 10,000. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Adam, go check him out and make sure you subscribe so he can hit that 10,000 mark.
And you're going to give something away when you hit 10,000.
Yeah, we've got a set of love jugs that we're going to give away. I'm just going to say a set. Whoever wins will choose what set they want. And keep in mind the love jugs, they vary in price anywhere from $400 to $500 or so. And with some of the add-ons, I mean, you could literally get up to about a $700 value or so, depending on whether we install it for you or we just mail it to you or whatever. But it's a sizable giveaway. It's not like a little, $20 T-shirt or something. It's real, but we got to hit that 10,000 subscribers.
Not too far. What do you got? 90? Is it 97?
We're 9,600 and something. Yeah, okay. I did check it today.
So it's not that hard. So if you guys, when you get done here, go on to it's just Amsoil Adam. And at YouTube. And what's nice about Adam is he gives you that different look from what we do. He gives you that look of how he starts out in the morning, what's going on during the day. If he's not too busy, he'll go out and do a lot of shots around where in the area that he's at. And he checks out at some of the restaurants and stuff that are there. They go out to eat a lot at night. And so it's kind of neat. It just gives you a different perspective than what we have. Where we're more running around the rally. He's more concentrated usually in one area, which he sometimes goes other places. And then you can always see, seems like Adam's always got something that happens at every rally on for you. You always have some kind of major event happen.
Well, we're running a business and running a business the way we do, where we have to travel around the country to get to these shows, either en route to the shows or at the shows. There's always some kind of a hurdle or some kind of a challenge that we have to face. all in all, we usually get through it, unscathed for the most part, and we move on. But it does add a certain level of excitement to what we do for a living, which is why we decided to create the channel, because a lot of people don't see that perspective. They just, they go to Rally, they know the vendors are there, and all they see is a vendor set up that they can buy stuff from. They don't realize what that vendor puts into it or what goes on behind the scenes to get ready for those rallies. So that's why we thought we'd add that different perspective. And so far, people are really, really liking what we're doing. So
it's pretty good. Now, the next show we went to, which you didn't go to, is
Brooksville.
Well, we did Leesburg too there.
No,
we went to Brooksville. They had their first official rally. That's in Florida. It's over by Tampa area.
What's up, Eli?
It sucked. Speeds went, and they first wanted them to park like right up against another booth, and they're like, "Hey, we got a dyno. We got to put the ramp down. We got to be able to pull in and out." Well, can you park like 5 streets over? And he's like, "What am I going to do over there? Either I'm going to right where the truck's at, we're staying there, or we're leaving." And they said, "Well, just stay there." Well, there was nobody. There was a couple of other vendors that we knew were there too. I don't remember who the other guys were that were there, but they all said the same thing. The big thing there was that what's the retirement community?
Oh, not Living World, Villages.
The Villages. They brought some buses in on Friday, so
like school buses full.
The handicapped people.
Not handicapped,
elderly.
elderly.
Well, some of them were handicapped. They had walkers and wheelchairs, and it was like a flea market. It was, and they're never going to go again. We're probably never going to go there again. It was kind of a waste to drive all the way over there.
There's good reason that we don't do some of those smaller shows. It just doesn't make sense for us. And I'm not saying they can't be fun for the local guy that just wants to go out for the weekend. If I lived in the area, I'd probably attend something like that. But business-wise, it just doesn't make sense for a large vendor like us to get out there.
Well, we look at the same thing with as a YouTube channel. There's not any content there. There's a bunch of people walking around. The booths weren't that many people selling stuff for motorcycles. It was a lot of just junk that people were selling you see at a flea market or something. And it just wasn't. Luckily, we just rode over there on the bike for the day, and we turned around and rode back. So they had a bike show there. I think it was, what's that guy that we always know? Crazy.
Oh, Radical Randy.
Radical Randy had a bike show there. They had about 15 bikes in it. But other than that was really the highlight of being there, but it was sad. So we're not doing that one again.
So is that what he's going to do if you get to 10,000 and you grow on a mullet?
No, but I posted a video earlier today letting people know that I was going to be live with you all tonight to get maybe some of the subscribers that I have that may not subscribe to you, may not realize it, get them to also attend this live. But I put a thing on there since November, and I haven't really shaved in like a week and a half or something like that. That I asked people if I should do the no shave November challenge thing or whatever. So I haven't even read all the comments yet. The video just went up about 2 hours ago. So
he said, "Tell Adam to let it grow. I want to see a mullet on him."
I don't think it'll go. I don't think it'll get that much in a month, but I promise I won't let it go too long because I hate my hair.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just thought you were a naturally bald guy, and then she says, "No, you got like an afro."
No, my hairline's right here. I choose to shave it all off,
and so which is fine. So then after that, the next thing we went to was Leesburg. So we did Leesburg this year. Leesburg was.
They were at Leesburg.
Was you in Leesburg?
We were there, but just as an attendee.
Oh,
remember we met up with you guys. We did a
giveaway. Right, because that's where you gave away. Deb and Mike won the oil. And
correct.
Okay, that's right. So you got to, so you can talk about that in a minute. So we went to Leesburg. Normally, the first year we went was the year before, 2021, and it was just the dealership had their stuff going on. And what would they have? What's it? Useless across the pond. Eustis across the pond. They had some stuff going on. I think that's where
Katie's from.
So it was like, I don't know. So then when we went back this year, it is a lot more exciting to see Main Street. Marcus is on here tonight.
Yes.
And if you go on and say you're a Bob and Tam, and if you're looking for a tent, he's got deals. He'll give you a discount. And he's got the, what's it called? His tents.
Camp Easy Ride.
Yeah, that's it. Camp Easy Ride. Got too many things thinking about. So other than that, Leesburg wasn't bad. So he's actually invited us out to spend a couple days at his camp if it's not 100-degree plus, which it shouldn't be. And so we'll go out there, and then he's at the campground. He's out there is
Windy Acres.
Windy Acres, and that's supposed to be a pretty wild place.
There you go, a man bun.
And so other than that, I was pretty happy with Leesburg. We did get some content. We did a live on Main Street and stuff, and some of you guys were pretty interested in that. So it wasn't too bad a rally. So what did you think about Leesburg as a participant?
Well, there's actually Leesburg is a rally that I've been going to for many, many years as a participant, even before I worked rallies, because again, we lived right down the road from it in the Orlando area. So it's just a day trip, and it was always my birthday weekend. My birthday is April 24th, so it was always, my birthday. I didn't want to do any work or whatever. Just, hey, let's go to Leesburg and enjoy Bike Week. We did start working it a few years back, and we never had any real success there. Now, I know vendors that work that rally, and they do absolutely fantastic at that rally. It's just never was right fit for us. And now that we have the big rig, they want to charge us stupid prices. They want to charge me more than Daytona wants to charge me.
Wow.
To put that rig there. Yeah, they wanted over $8,000 for me to park that rig there for a 3-day show, and it doesn't make sense for us.
No.
The t-shirt vendors, they got such a high profit margin on what they do because they're having shirts made for $5 to sell them for 30. They can afford that, but we don't get that kind of margin, and I can't do that kind of work in that short period of time to justify that rent, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So in 19 was the last year we actually worked that rally, and I got them to cut me a deal. They charged me like $4,000, I think, and they said that it was only a 1-year thing. If I couldn't make it work, that they weren't going to extend that cost to me the next year. And well, it didn't work. So we didn't go back.
So you're probably going to go and visit there during the rally.
I might. So even though we don't live in the area, but the only reason I was there is because, as most of my viewers know, we also have the semi-truck segment on my channel because we own the trucking company, and I love semi-trucks. So we decided to stop in Wildwood for the truck show, and that's the only reason we were down there, is for the truck show. I just happened to go to Leesburg one of the days and film while we were there, just because it would make good content for the channel, and I got to visit with our friends with me not having to work.
So one person asked if have you put your t-shirts yet on your website?
No, we just got home yesterday morning, and I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I've got to call my web guy. I don't physically know how to add them to the website.
It's not easy.
So he's going to have to do it, and then I'm sure I'm going to have to take a bunch of pictures and everything. And so it's on the list of things to handle by the end of the week as far as getting that ball in motion. I'm not saying they'll be up by the end of the week, but we'll get that ball rolling.
You'll start working on it.
Yeah.
Mexi Philly says he's got to run. He says bye to both of us.
Have a good one, Eli.
So next thing is, I guess we do Panama City.
Yep.
Panama City.
Yeah, so we went up to Panama City. So Panama City, it's definitely a different. This year was definitely different. Chase now is now in charge of it 100%. He brought in the big axe. It's an all right rally. The only reason I kind of like that rally probably versus like Daytona is because it's more of a beachy rally. All the bars and stuff are kind of like you can get to the beach. Where in Daytona, it's really, I don't know, it's not, it doesn't seem as beachy as what Panama City is. And but Panama City doesn't really have a lot of things going on. You got the Frank Brown's Park where most of the vendors are all there. And the last couple of years, which I complain every year we're there, they kind of have the vendors it's screwed up. There's a lot of vendors that never get seen. And I keep saying that. Why don't they take the big trucks and move them like in a horseshoe? And then that way people can go in a loop and then have all the small vendors in the middle. And because there's people like J&P Cycles was way out there on the backside. Ciro was back there. They weren't getting any tech. And the first year we went, there was some poor guy that was selling trikes. And I just happened to be going to the bathroom when I was cutting through, and I'm like, dude, where do you come from? He says, we haven't seen anybody all day. And I'm like, holy crap, you got the worst spot. He was like
behind the bathroom and some food trucks, and then on the backside of the Harley demo bikes. He was way back over there.
And it was like, this is 2021. So, but other than that, it's which we're going to talk about later about Panama City. I don't know if we're going to do it next year or not. That's something we're going to think about. But overall, it's not a bad rally. Miss Newbie seems to have a lot of trouble down there. It just seems like it's kind of a rally that is just kind of spread out. It's not as bad as Myrtle Beach, but you've got Hammerhead Fred's, you've got Miss Newbies, you've got
that Lucky 13 area.
Yeah, that Lucky 13 area is always, it sucked, and we hear it really sucked this year too. It was really bad. It was worse. I think the fall rally was just awful down there.
Yeah,
and Adam got
13 anymore. So, and that's probably
they changed the name.
Yeah,
and so
he had a few questions there too.
So I didn't know. Like I say, it was an all right rally. we're not into really watching the bands and stuff like that. I mean, they had Jackal on, and he screamed like there was no tomorrow. I don't know because he came on at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock, and he's used to coming on at 11.
Midnight.
But I mean, people got up and walked out because he just kept turn it up. It's like, man, my ears are going to bleed, and we're sitting halfway back. And so the other concerts
and you said it was hurting your ears, and you were all the way at your vendor spot.
Yeah, and when most of the bands are on, it's fine. We can hear them. It's loud. I get it. It's a concert, but he's got like an extra level of loudness to him that just makes it absolutely obnoxious, and I can't stand when we're anywhere near where he's playing.
It's
nothing against the band. It's just it's too loud, and like I said, we're almost a quarter of a mile away from the actual stage, and we can't talk to people next to us. He overdoes it. A little much
over the top.
Yeah.
So Kent says, what rally charges the most for the space?
And that may vary from vendor to vendor. For us, I hate to say it, but I think it's Lone Star. I think that's the highest amount of rent that I pay.
Well, you're in a prime location there, though. A lot of your other locations you're not always like the car wash at Myrtle Beach. That's a good location for you guys. It works for you, but it's not a prime location. You're not right up front.
Definitely not.
And then what was the other one? I was thinking of another one that you weren't exactly in a great prime. At Panama City, you're in a good location. That's a pretty good draw there. You're down there by Rick Rack and all that, and that speed. That seems like that first aisle is really the aisle you want to be in if you're in Panama City.
Yeah, as far as Panama City locations go, it's probably the best spot we could possibly have. We have been in other spots.
The dealer sucks. I don't know if they got any more this fall or not, but I mean, during the spring rally, there was hardly nobody back there. It was just more people parked their bikes to go in the store and look around, and they've chased so many vendors away from there. It's just awful. And then
so Rick had a question too. Do you have a shop there in your hometown, don't you?
It's not a public shop. I have a shop on my property at my house, but we do very, very little work out of the shop anymore. I've got a small handful of local customers that I've had for years and years that I will still service their motorcycles. But when we're at home now, I don't advertise. I don't try to bring in any new business because we work on so many bikes when we're on the road that when I'm home, I want to try to work on my own projects, and stuff like that just always ends up interfering. And, during the season when we're gone, it doesn't make sense to take bikes in because I'm not here to work on them. They end up sitting for long periods of time, and I just don't want to do that to customers. So I've got one truck running around still that's got like the name and phone number on it. And sometimes I even forget about it. I'll be getting gas and somebody will walk up and goes, "Hey, can I have a card?" And I just tell them, "Well, look, I'm not taking in any new work, and we're booked."
Yeah.
You might even think about doing something like Fair and Exchange does, like maybe once a month or something. Go to some parking lot and say, "Hey, we'll do oil changes for this Saturday if you want to come in," or that way you're not getting people to come to your house. I know they've done pretty good at doing that. They travel all over the United States doing that.
We'll talk about the shop in a little bit, Bill.
Yeah. So what did you think about Panama City for the spring?
Unfortunately, this year at Panama City was the only show this year that we were down on sales on as compared to last year. Now, with that said, last year's sales at the Panama City Spring Show were excessively higher than what we ever expected. So, and I think that's because, remember, in 2020, that show got canceled. It didn't happen in the spring of 2020. The fall show was just so-so because people were still a little bit afraid to come out. So 2021 was the first year where there really weren't any restrictions in the state of Florida. People had the freedom to go do what they wanted to do. And it was just awesome. We did a lot more sales than we expected. So when I compare that to this year, we were disappointed. But this year was still our second best year ever at Panama. So it was still a good year, just comparing. What I do like about Panama is it seems to be a little bit more of a relaxing show. I mean, we still earn our money, but we don't have the high stress of like Daytona where we got, 30 bikes in line at one time. We got to try to keep up. We never get that at Panama. It usually kind of comes in a manner where we can keep up with it and no one's really waiting long. The advantage is too, we're on the grass. So fatigue wise, we tend to have a better energy level towards the end of the day because we're not standing on pavement or concrete all day long. But it's harder to set up there. Rolling those lifts and the toolboxes in the grass isn't fun. I think eventually that spot that used to be Lucky 13, they're now calling the Strip because it used to not be part of Thunder Beach Productions. It was like a scab lot, is what we call it in the industry. That's not a non-official lot. But when Lucky 13 was running it, they were doing a lot of good things, and they drew a lot of good vendors. They drew a lot of good business there, and most people did well. I think if Chase will kind of listen to what some of the vendors have to say and do what Lucky 13 did, he's got a chance of bringing it back. But it doesn't seem like he's putting his attention there. And it's nothing against Chase. Chase is a great guy. I don't want to knock him. Yeah. But this is a problem we have with all promoters, is they think they know what they're doing better than the vendors do. And we're the ones that suffer when they make the bad choices, but they tend to not really care whether we make money or not. I mean, they'll say they do, because without the vendors,
you just want your check.
Yeah. But let's face it, without vendors, there's no bike week. It's just a town that motorcycles show up in. People come for the vendors, because most people will get better service from a vendor than they do the local dealerships. They'll get better prices. Some places do free installs, you know, and even you look at our business structure alone. If you took your bike into Harley Davidson for an oil change, you're going to drop it off. They'll call you when it's done. It may not be that same day. It may not even be for 3 or 4 days. Where at the rallies, me and other vendors, we got a system where we get you in and out. We get the service done right then, and you don't have to wait. And you usually get a better price and a better product typically. So, you know, vendors are an extremely important part to any motorcycle rally. And I think the promoters tend to forget that. They're all in it for their own profit. You know, and I don't know what the promoters make, but they usually make good money.
I think they're looking like Sturgis. We went with the city of Sturgis, and they're now looking at a lot more percentage of people are coming to rallies that are driving cars. They're not even, they don't even own a motorcycle. That may not even rode a motorcycle in their life. So they're coming to these rallies. So I think a lot of these promoters, which I think Chase is one of them, that's looking at that, because I think at the concerts there's getting to be more people that had cars there than they had motorcycles. And because it just got the parking was just awful over there that day. They had the big concerts. And so I don't know, that's all down the road. Let's look at Myrtle Beach. And we went ahead and we're deciding to go next year to go to Myrtle again, but that's one of the rallies. I just don't know if it's worth the time for out of all the places. Now, one of our Steven, I don't know if he's on the night or not. He's doing a bunch of going with a bunch of guys, finding a bunch of rides to do down there. But to me, when I get down there, there really isn't no place to freaking ride. And from not Frank Brown's Park, from Merle's Inlet all the way to Barefoot Landing is like 25 miles. And, you know, you can either go out the outway. If you go through Myrtle Beach, you got to worry about the cops and all that kind of stuff. They want to give you a hassle and stuff. You know, if you want to stay down there in Merle's Inlet, it's a lot of fun. You got, you know, Suck Bang Blows there. You got the Beaver Bar there. More and more, it seems to be these last couple of years, more vendors are showing up down there. And I think it's getting to be, that is the place you want to be. And I'd really wish that they would bring the big trucks. They could find you, like we go to that mall. That mall that's right there, half the mall is freaking closed up, and there's nobody parks in that back parking lot. And over there at Barefoot Landing, there is no electricity. You got to bring a generator.
So I don't know why they just couldn't use part of that parking lot in that mall and do the same thing, not have any electricity and do the same thing.
We've had issues with the dealership before. We hear that it might be selling. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. We've had some good sources tell us it is. We've had a few good sources tell us it's not. But we've had some issues with the dealership. I think some vendors have had issues there too with them. There's really the only two I really know is it's Rick Racks there and also Fairing Exchange. I don't know. There's a couple of small people there, but I think the guy that sells handlebars.
KTX.
Yeah, KTX. Yes, they're there. Yeah, they're there on the corner. So other than that, that's really the only three. And then they got a big giant tent there that's selling their stupid T-shirts and stuff. You know, it takes up half the thing. They got a little beer stand there, and then there's a handful of just miscellaneous people selling stuff. And so there's not much going on there at the dealership, and they don't have a lot of parking there. And then so you go down to Barefoot Landing, and that's where the big trucks are all at. And it's just weird there. Where in the year before we were there in the fall, and it was packed. You go down to the other end, Merle's Inlet. There was hardly nobody down there during the day. Well, then last year during the spring rally, that's what ended up happening. There was nobody down at Merle's Inlet. No, it was Barefoot Landing. There was nobody down at Barefoot Landing. The guys are all just standing around doing nothing. Then we get down to Merle's Inlet, and it's packed. All the trucks are busy, and so it was just really. But overall, hanging out down in Merle's Inlet, we had a lot more fun down there. We did do the live from
bar.
No, we did the live from the bar. What's the Twin Peaks?
Oh yeah.
And that was really good. The girls really got involved. I think we did. Did we do 2 nights there?
I think we did too.
And so that was really a lot of fun. The girls really interacted with a lot of you guys and stuff, and you guys really liked it. And so other than that was pretty good. So that's why we put Myrtle's Inlet, or not Myrtle's Inlet, but we put the Myrtle Beach back in one more time. But Myrtle Beach has gotten a lot more stricter. There's also a noise ordinance now. The cops can pull you over if they feel your bike's too loud. They don't even have to check decibels anymore, and they can write tickets. Can't park in any of the garages. Half the campgrounds down there, you got to park your bike out in the gravel out in front of the campgrounds. They won't let you drive inside. We're still staying at the state park, which they let you drive in and out with your bike. But other than that, that's about all I can say about Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle is definitely a weird rally. And so where most rallies have an official venue, like we just talked about, Thunder Beach, Thunder Beach Productions owns the rally. They put on the rally at Frank Brown Park. They run all the other lots with a few exceptions. Myrtle Beach is different. So there's a guy named Sonny who actually owns Myrtle Beach Bike Week, right? But I don't know what he actually does. I've talked to him. I've met him. He's a really nice guy. But there is no official Myrtle Beach Bike Week venue. So Barefoot Landing isn't run by him. It's run by a lady named Deanne, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not even in Myrtle Beach. It's in North Myrtle Beach, right? Because Myrtle Beach itself doesn't want the bike week. They tried everything they could years ago to get rid of it. And from what I understand, back in the days, was long before I did it, it was a great rally. And I don't know how it was set up then. I started doing it in 2014, and it was just kind of starting to come back and be good. It's where for a while, the city of Myrtle Beach made it mandatory to have a helmet, even though the state law says you don't have to. Their permits are done. It's a $900 permit on top of your rent and everything else to be able to set up. And then you're not even allowed to start setting up until 12:01 a.m. on that Monday morning, where most other places are starting to set up on Wednesday and Thursday, so they're open by that Friday. So it just got too expensive to vend within the city limits. And that's why vendors like me have gone down to Myrtle's Inlet, because it's in a different county and the rules are completely different. They're not strict. I think my permit there, which is included in my rent, is only $250, where they don't really care what time you open or when you open. As long as you paid your permit fee, they're happy. And it's a fairly reasonable permit fee and relationship. And I know that it's spread kind of far apart, like you were saying, and I think it only seems bad because there's so much freaking traffic between the two. It's not the distance, it's the traffic. Because you look at shows like Sturgis, I mean, people run hundreds of miles to go out to other cities and other towns that are in other states. And nobody minds that because it's good riding. But in Myrtle, it's not good riding. It's bar hopping. That's all it is. Yeah. We call it a flip-flop rally because there's nobody but, big wheel bikes with long bags wearing flip-flops. It is just it's a party rally. It's not a riding rally. It's just, for the, hey, look at me, I'm partying and I'm getting drunk and I got a big wheel bike.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So after that, we went up the coast. We went to
Ride to Remember.
Yep, the Ride to Remember. It was on Memorial Day. That was really neat to do. Say we did it. I would have liked to have done it when it was Rolling Thunder before.
Yes.
I would have loved to have done it back then. That guy decided he didn't want to do it anymore. He retired. I think he still has a dealership he still owns, but he kind of got out of it. And the dealerships there, Washington, Harley Davidson, and a couple other ones kind of picked it up and said, let's run with it. So it was really neat. Would I do it again? Probably not. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. It's like everything else. It's they had a party the day before at the dealership, which was okay. But that morning, we thought there was going to be, you had to go to this big arena area, and that's where you set up at, and you staging area. And they had some bands there, and they had some stuff, but you really didn't really understand when you were supposed to leave and all that. So, you kind of stood around your bike, and, I thought we were going to end up back there, and we didn't. What ended up was scary was you ended up on this highway that had a Y. And it didn't. And if you're not from that area, like we have no idea. There was people stopping on this highway in the middle of this Y trying to figure out which way to go. But I think we went right, which was the wrong way. And we went 20 miles out of our way before we figured out we were going the wrong way. But other than that, the shocking thing was actually gas downtown Washington, D.C., right by the White House there, was actually one of the most reasonable places to buy gas in town. We didn't stop, but I seen it when we were driving by with the motorcycle. I seen the price. I was like, holy crap, that's cheap. But the bad news was they got toll roads everywhere, and you're crossing different state lines. That's why we were staying there. I think we were in Vermont, Virginia. And they had a different road. When you went across that one, it was just a pain in the ass.
And then you had to go through from Virginia. You had to go to Maryland, and then Washington D.C. And it was a mess.
It was just kind of a mess. It was nice to say that we've been there and done that, but other than that, I wasn't real impressed. So I was glad that we did it. One of our subscribers, actually, it's Ryder X lives up there, and he set it all up, got us in there with the dealership and everything. We appreciate that, and it was worth going to say we've done it, been there. We got to see the saluting soldier Marine, got to talk to him. He got him on camera and stuff. So that was kind of neat to do, and but that was it. So then the next thing after that is we head up to New Hampshire. Probably with me with Laconia was a lot of you built it up to be way more than it was ever going to be. And you're like, oh, it's going to be this great riding. It'd be like Iron Mountain rides. It'd be like Needles Highway. I don't know where the hell you're riding at, but there ain't no Iron Mountain, there ain't no Needles Highway up there. We've seen a few curvy roads, but they were so bumpy you couldn't make any kind of speed. But I mean, they were scenic rides. You could ride just like if we go to Missouri. If we just go out into the foothills of Missouri, they're beautiful rides too. But I think people built it up so much.
He was very disappointed.
I was thinking this is going to be, we're going to ride. That's why we picked 5 days. I think we rode 5 days there. We rode like 2,000 miles, and I could have done that here. It would have been just riding around. I could have went up the Grand Canyon and stuff and rode around and came back. But the actual rally, I wasn't impressed with that either. The whole main drag down that they closed down must be 99% people selling T-shirts. And that's it. They've got like 2 bars down there and only really one big bar. I forget the guy that owns
Tower. It. Oh, I don't.
Towers. Is it Tower Bar? Tower or something?
Tower something.
And that's where some of the girls we knew, they were working there. We did get to go on a ride to over to Maine to Bentley's, which was really neat. We got to meet him. Actually, one of our subscribers knew him, and he was like,
Alley Bob.
Yeah. When we told him Bowling Alley Bob sent him, he was just
all excited.
Called his girlfriend over and got the red door. So it was really great. We went over to his bar, and that was a neat bar. I'd like to go back someday and maybe camp at his campground. So that was kind of neat. But the actual rally itself was just like where Adam and stuff was at. It was like, to me, it was like out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing between town and there. There wasn't no place to stop. There wasn't, and there, this is the stupidest community I've ever seen in my life, that these stupid little towns don't open up. They're open up like maybe on Thursday at noon. They'll be open until 5. Or, we pulled in some of these towns and we're looking for, and it's right. Yeah, we just want to find a place to eat. And we pulled to the restaurant. Sorry, closed on Tuesdays, closed on Wednesdays, closed on Thursday. They'll be open Saturday from noon to 5.
Or you go someplace for breakfast and it's like, oh, they don't open until 3. You go someplace for dinner, they closed at 1. It's like,
and it was like, and then you couldn't find gas station. Most of these little towns, there was no gas. So if you didn't if you went out and you had a half a tank and you went on like up to that castle or something, you're gonna run out of gas because there's no place to stop. And so I wasn't really impressed with that. I kind of felt bad for people that were at the racetrack because we did go out one day and the races were going on. There was nobody in the stands, and it was like this just sucks. And so overall, the hundreds next year, I have no intention of going. Unless somebody puts us up downtown, we have no interest in going. I just didn't. There wasn't. Oh, if you want to stand, like we have Prime Cut Pro and Awesome Documentary. They were down there. They hung out there and stayed out. They pitched a tent right there by the road, and they got all the burnouts and girls were flashing. And that's out of all the rallies I've ever been to, I have never been to one that everybody is doing burnouts on every street around. And it's just, and the cops are trying to pull them over as fast as they can, but not one bar there has a burnout pit. And so it was kind of sad that there wasn't, but there was a lot more crotch rockets I seen in Laconia than I did street bikes. So that's my thing on Laconia. So how did you like it?
So
that's his rant.
Yeah. So I haven't seen some of the problems you're seeing. I think the riding in Laconia is great, but I love riding in the mountains. Maybe you just pick some bad roads, but there are some really great rides up there, especially when you get over into Maine and stuff like that. It can be beautiful. I've never had a problem finding gas there. I do agree that the speedway is kind of far out. But again, I use this logic. It's only 20 miles out of town, but like people go to Sturgis, they drive hundreds of miles to go out to Devil's Tower and this and that. And then like, I don't understand people complaining about riding 25 miles at a bike rally. You came to a bike rally, get on your bike and ride and stop bitching about having to ride. And I get it. Laconia's become, again, a party rally, but there's not even that many good places to party there anymore. Mm-hmm. But the locals love it. And yeah, we joke it's become a t-shirt rally. That's all you find up there at the Weirs Beach area. And the sad thing is, it's like the same 4 t-shirt vendors that just set up multiple booths. So they've almost got like a monopoly on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's going to go through some changes over the next couple of years. The area that they used to call the Lobster Pound has now been bought out. And after this next year, there will no longer be vendors there because they're building some kind of condo apartments there or something. So what they're going to do with all those vendors, I don't know. You know, if they would do more communication and more advertising, I think they could make it better. You're right. There's nobody coming out to the races, and that's what that rally was based on. It started because of people coming out to the races 100 years ago, the hill climbs and the road races down there. And nobody knows about it. The Speedway and the official Laconia Motorcycle Week, they don't communicate with each other. They just do a terrible job. And now Chase runs our side out there, and to a point, his hands are tied. But also at the same time, I think, you know, maybe a little bit of pride needs to be swallowed for the benefit of the greater good. And him and Charlie need to shake hands and come to terms and do what's best for the entire rally, because it is a dying rally. And I hate to say that because I love the area. I love going there, but we have really considered not doing it anymore. We didn't even really want to go this last year. It ended up turning out well for us, but I think that's just because of all the loyal YouTube subscribers that we have that made a point.
You didn't get to make it because you had an issue with the
trailer day. Yeah, so we missed 2 years. The first year because of COVID, it got canceled, and then the second year because we had the trailer accident. But, you know, I honestly think that next year will probably be a great year for a lot of people because it's the 100th anniversary, and no motorcycle rally in the world has ever had a 100th anniversary. So everybody and their brother is going to want to go to say they were a part of it, including me. But I think after that, it's going to seriously suffer. And like I said, I know a lot of the local people love the rally, but it seems like there's a different mentality there, kind of a different attitude. I've met some really great people there, but I've also met some of the rudest customers there. And I don't know if it's just that the people that come from New York or Boston that are the inner city that are so used to that, you know, kill or be killed kind of mentality, you know what I mean? That some of them you just try to have a conversation with and just flat out get nasty with you when you're just trying to talk to them. But like I said, that's a few handfuls. We've met some really great people there also. I think
that's what I look at too. I look at it as that's what that's one of the things I wonder is I know that property has been sold. They gave them the 2 more years, the 99th and the 100th. I'm even wondering if there'll even be a 101 rally there. If this might be, because it is, everybody, almost all the vendors I know are going, and everybody else, because they all said the same thing. You guys need to come. You need to come. Well, the problem we had, which wasn't that big of a deal, but I mean, we were staying 50 miles away. So we didn't stay any nights there. And there's only, what is there, 2 big bars there, and there's a whole lot of little bars. But I mean, it's kind of like, I guess you get spoiled with some of these, like Sturgis. You know, if you want to go downtown and hang out at the bars, they're all kind of right there, unless you want to go out to the Full Throttle or you want to go to the Buffalo Chip or something like that. You can spend a whole evening in one place. And with me, when I look at, like what you say is you come to a rally to ride, well, that's true, but I don't want to, it's kind of like Myrtle Beach. You know, it's 25 miles to go down there, which we probably make 4 or 5 trips during the rally back and forth, that 25-mile trip. Well, how many times do I want to go past Walmart and go, you know, and fight with the traffic and fight with the tourists that are there? And that's the problem that I seen with Leesburg was because somebody said you can actually go around that main drag there. And that's what I said. They should stop cars, at least for the weekend at night, not to allow the cars, because it ended up being, we were at the far side. We were where did we go? We were coming back from,
I don't know, we went somewhere.
And we were coming back, but we were on the other side of the dealership.
This is Laconia.
On Laconia. Coming back, and the traffic stopped. And I'm like, okay, so I'm looking at the GPS and I'm pulling it up, and it's like they said it's 45 minutes. 45 minutes to go 2 miles. We were at the top of that hill. We had to go down that hill and go up to the dealership. We could have drove all the way around the lake in 45 minutes. We turned around and said, screw it, we're going home. We went back to the trailer and said, we don't need to go down there.
We were done for the day.
It wasn't worth fighting that traffic.
Because by the time we would have got to the dealership, it would have been closed in like 10 minutes.
Because we wanted to kind of catch up with the dealership. But there it was kind of weird too, because they had some vendors that were up on the hill, which I thought was part of the dealership, which it wasn't. It's on the other side of that restaurant. And then they got the vendors that are in the dealership. And like Speeds this year, they didn't do very good there.
Well,
like
they were busy or there was nothing. It was one or the other.
And it was just really weird. It was just a weird rally. I don't know if it's because everybody built it up for me, saying it was going to be it was just going to blow me away. And if I compared it to Myrtle Beach, oh yeah, it was a lot nicer for Myrtle Beach because there was better riding than Myrtle Beach. There's better riding than in Florida there, but it doesn't rank anywhere near Sturgis riding. But when everybody kept telling me, oh, it's going to be like riding in Sturgis, it's going to be, and I don't mind, like you said, we could ride all the way to Custer, and it's like 50 miles. Well, that's a great 50-mile ride. We got 5 or 6 different options, but I think riding from town to where you guys were at, I think there's only really one main way to get there.
Yeah, Route 6, yeah.
So you I don't know. I just wasn't. So that's that. So after that, we all headed over to Sturgis. Sturgis was really good for us this year.
Well, they did the 3-wheeler.
Oh yeah, you guys went down to the 3-wheel rally.
Yeah, and it was actually fairly good. It's a small rally, and like I said, it's not something I would go out of my way to do if I wasn't going to go out there to do Sturgis. But I love the town of Deadwood. It's got a lot of history and a lot of nostalgia there. It gets me out in the area early, and then that time between the rallies is my time. I get to do some riding and so on and so forth. So I really enjoy that. And there are some really great people we meet at the 3-wheeler rally. It's definitely a different crowd. Like I said, I want to say the average age of the attendees there are like 65 plus. So it's not, you don't get all the young punks that are just into the loud stereos and stuff like that. It's a different crowd for sure, but they tend to be really, really nice people. And we kind of enjoy that little bit of a slower pace, even though financially it's not the best decision for us.
Yeah, we stopped down there for the afternoon. We went down there, and we did the year before. The only nice thing that I liked about that rally is you get to spend some time in Deadwood. If you've never spent a couple of days in Deadwood to see a lot of the different things, there's a lot of stuff in Deadwood to do. You could spend the whole rally down there for a week and still not see all the stuff. Most people don't even know the Indian guy that's got in there. It's got that restores the Indians. Yep. He's happy to take you in there. He showed us all around a couple years ago.
That's really cool.
He's got any part. If you got a vintage Indian bike, this guy's got the parts for it. He even makes
to find a way to make it. Yeah, I don't know if you saw in my video, we had an issue with my front axle not fitting the new bearings right. I went in there, and as they were closing up shop, they took the time to actually machine my axle down and make it a perfect fit for the bearings and wheels. All at the close of the day, when a lot of places would just said, no, sorry, we can't do that. We don't want to do that. But they took the time and they did it, and they did a fantastic job. And I mean, a number of thousand miles of the bike since. It's just awesome. Awesome people.
Yeah. And it was. And like I said, then they got you go up there and see Wild Bill Hickok's got his grave up there. You can go check out. And Calamity Jane is buried there. There's a whole bunch of neat people that are buried there. So it's kind of neat. You got a great view of the city. We went up last year. It's a lot of walking. Take the bus. There's a tour that take you up there. They'll take you to all those places. You don't have to do all that freaking walking. We parked in the parking lot and hiked up, and it was quite a hike. She didn't even make it to some of the graves I went to. And but that was kind of neat. But I mean, that's the only nice thing about the 3-wheel rally. And it's actually, I think it was 2 weeks before Sturgis.
Yeah, it's like 15 days, 16 days before. Well, the end of it is about 15, 16 days before.
And they have that at the rodeo. So where they have the rodeo at that campground, we stayed there at that campground, which wasn't too bad. And there's a lot of people there. Amzo Adams there. Chubby Cups is there. Who else is
Dan Kite went last year.
Yeah, Dan Kite's gone and does some pinstriping and stuff there. So it's not a bad rally. And what's nice about it is if you want something done to your bike, go during the day because they're all out doing freaking riding, and you can go down there.
The vendors aren't quite as busy.
And so it's a different kind of rally. And I think they've been, was their 12th year or something, or 13th year.
I forget, but yeah, it's relatively new.
So after that, we all head for Sturgis, and this year for Sturgis, what's the problem I have with Sturgis is it is the granddaddy of rallies, and there's just way too much stuff going on. We tried to cover it this year, trying to put out 2 or 3 videos a day, and it was just. I've still got videos I haven't even done yet that will come out next year. We did detailed rides and explained them all to people, and I never even got a chance to edit all those videos. It just was just too much stuff going on. And where this year we're going to do it differently, but but overall, I was happy with Sturgis this year. The only thing that I thought this year was bad for us is a lot of people were very disorganized. The city wasn't until freaking 2 days before they had the flyover that they knew what freaking day they were going to do it on. And it was like, now they changed at the. Did she come in right at the last minute, or did she come in afterwards?
Who?
Tammy, for the city of Sturgis.
In May, she became the
So it was after the
coordinator.
rally.
No, it was right before the
Okay,
rally.
so the new coordinator for the city came in right before the rally in May,
and then
and she had to take over. The other guy had been doing it for years. He retired. So it's just things were very disorganized for the city. Iron Horse, nothing wrong with the Iron Horse. They were waiting on a couple of the bands at the last minute. A couple of people were in the bands were sick. They didn't know what bands they were going to have at the last minute. And we see this at all the rallies, but Sturgis, we just have. Well, we love Sturgis because we have such a great rapport with almost every business that's in Sturgis and the surrounding area. We even went around to all the towns this year, and we didn't even get all those videos out. That we went to Chamber of Commerce, we rode the train, we got helicopter rides, we got all kinds of crazy stuff that we did this year, but just didn't have time to put all that stuff out for you guys. But that's the only thing. The only bad thing about Sturgis is it's just too freaking crowded. Well, this year it was hot. It's the longest time I've ever been in Sturgis. That it's been we 105 before, but not for like
just
4
for
or
a
5,
day,
not for 4 or 5.
not for the whole
days.
darn rally.
So, but other than that, I don't think we really did. We get rain.
No, remember it was the driest rain. That's what they said. That's another reason they had a lot of issues because there hadn't been rain like a month before.
Yeah, because a lot of places didn't even want to cut the grass like Buffalo Chip. They didn't want to cut the field because it was everything underneath it was dead. So, how did Sturgis go for you, Adam?
So again, financially for us, it was probably, it was definitely, no probably about it, the best show we've ever had in our lives. We exceeded our sales goal above and beyond what we could have even expected to. We work hard there, but we never got like in the weeds. It was great. And again, I love Sturgis. It is my favorite rally that we do because of the riding, because of the area. Once again, a lot of great people. But again, from a vendor perspective, Sturgis is another one of those cities that is slowly putting itself out of the rally business. The city itself is getting greedy. They're charging $700 permit fees on top of the rent. The property owners are gouging people for rent. No, for me to park my rig downtown Sturgis, take a guess at what they want to charge me.
I'd say $10,000.
Like more like 16,000.
That's crazy.
And it just doesn't make any sense, And that's why we set up Rapid City. Yeah, and would I do better business? I probably would. Would I do enough business to justify the extra $10,000 or $12,000 in rent? Probably not. And from a business perspective, at the end of the day, it's not always how much money you make; it's how much you get to keep. Yeah. I might see a slight increase in sales, but not enough to justify it. But I hear a lot of vendors complaining about that rally because the city is getting greedy. The tax people down there are very difficult with it as well. Now, over in Rapid City, they're pretty easy. I walk into the office afterwards, I check and walk out. We shake hands. Everything's pretty quick and easy. But when you're in the city of Sturgis, there's just so many other problems that are there for the vendors. And a lot of them are getting sick and tired. That's why a lot of them are starting to come to our lot. I think that's why the lot we are in is starting to do so much better because things down there are getting so bad that the people are just tired of dealing with it.
It's tough because the Black Hills Harley's like that. They've got a waiting list of like 20 people trying to get in there. And now this year they're actually, they're expensive. But we say almost everybody stops at their lot. They probably, would say probably 90% of people that go to Sturgis that are going to stop at that. They're going to stop for some time to walk through that lot. Where
there.
That's why I said sometimes it's too, because there's a lot of people that just want to bypass it. And if they put the new highway in, which I don't know if you heard that or not, the road in front, they're redoing the highway right now at what's the campground?
Kickstands.
Kickstands. That's now going to be the new 79. They're going to concrete it all the way down, and they're going to curve it over to where it goes in front of the full throttle. They're going to curve the road there, so it's going to go through right there. Is it Lampshire?
Yeah.
Go through their property, and they're going to straighten it all out there. It'll be a slight curve, but that's going to end up. They approved that just this last few months. So they're redoing the exits right now at
Kickstands. Exit 37.
So that's a big mess that's going on there. But Kickstands, they were actually closed. They couldn't even get in their campground.
They actually got to go to Daytona. They went to Panama City, and then they went to Galveston. So I was happy for them because they run that campground all year round, and they never get to get out. So nice,
that's going to change a lot of stuff. It's going to end up being a lot of people, because once that road gets concreted, everybody's going to go in that bypass and might not even go into town.
Go into Sturgis anymore.
Yeah, so, especially if you're going to go out to the chip or full throttle, it'll avoid a lot of traffic that way.
So other than that, I was pretty happy with. So, is that your most profitable?
Yeah.
Somebody asked that question.
There was three
what was your most profitable rally?
What venue?
Well, let me answer that.
Yeah, without doing an actual P&L per se on each one, it would be a toss-up between Daytona Spring or Sturgis. The advantage I have in Daytona Spring is our sales aren't quite as high, but my expenses are a lot lower. So, one, it's cheaper for me to drive the rig to Daytona from North Carolina than it is out to South Dakota. So my fuel costs are lower. And also enough that in the spring, that particular location for me is sponsored by Amsoil. So they pay my rent there 100%. So, we come out of our 4-month break in the winter, like we're on right now, where we haven't had any income. It's nice to know that I can go there. I don't have to pay any rent up front or anything like that. I just have to get there. So profit-wise, Daytona is probably my most profitable given the same sales.
Yeah.
But like I said, our sales are up considerably in Sturgis, even from Daytona. So we probably actually made better money in Sturgis.
Okay. Would you have other questions for Adam?
Yeah. The other one was, how did you like Ocean City? Because you went to Ocean City. We didn't go to that one either.
Yeah, Ocean City is pretty good. I was hoping it would be better this year than it was last year. I was hoping it would be significantly better. Let me put it that way. And we did do a little bit better this year. Chase moved us to a little bit different of a location, which I thought was a better spot. But it wasn't a significant difference in sales. I was just hoping that it would have been better. But it's a good show. For a 4-day show, it's a good show.
Is that more of a local thing?
Yeah, well, regional. I'd say regional, not local, because you do get a lot of people that come in from New York and stuff like that, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It's not just like that area in Maryland by any means. People from Delaware.
I just look at, like, there really is no campgrounds. Closest campground we found is like 50 miles away. So it's pretty much people are staying in hotels, and which probably costs a fortune out there to stay in a hotel.
I'd imagine.
So that's the only reason we kind of, that, and it's after Sturgis, so we have to, for us to drive all the way across the United States, 2,000 miles, and then turn around and drive 2,000 miles back home, it just wasn't feasible for us. I don't know if we'll ever do Ocean City.
Yeah, I don't think it's drawing people from your neck of the woods, but up and down that eastern seaboard, I think it's pretty good for the regional. And it seems like that show draws more people that are willing to spend money. I don't know if it's just the area. I guess it's just a higher level of disposable income. The sales don't seem to be as hard to make. It's like they're willing to buy the products.
They're there to spend money.
Yeah.
Someone asked if you'd ever go to Lake of the Ozarks or Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. Well, they said 2023, but.
Yeah, well, I used to do both of them. We don't anymore. With Lake of the Ozarks, because most years it's the same exact weekend as Ocean City, and the sales don't even compare. There's no way I can give up Ocean City to go do that. I did Lake of the Ozarks for many years. People kept trying to tell me you should be doing Ocean City, you'd make better money. I was like, but I like Lake of the Ozarks. And it was one of my favorite rallies to do at the time because it was just a fun rally. But as we have grown our business, and now that we're using Goliath and the big trailer, there physically isn't a place for them to even put me. And it wouldn't justify the sales. And as far as BBB goes, we had a great spot on Dixon Street COVID screwed that all up, and then with everything moving, now with the primary place being the dealership up there, I don't think I can do well there. Most dealerships won't let me do oil changes because I take money out of their service department. They find it as a conflict of interest. So if they allow me to set up, they're going to limit what I can do. And then obviously that hurts our sales. So it just doesn't make sense. And it's so far of a drive to get from Ocean City out to there to turn around and come right back to Myrtle's Inlet for the fall Myrtle Rally. I got to look at the expenses, especially with diesel fuel being outrageous this year. I mean, remember, diesel is probably one of my biggest expenses. Yeah. We haven't run the numbers for the year yet because we just got home yesterday, but I'm willing to bet I probably spent over $50,000 just in diesel fuel this year.
Probably. We haven't added ours up either, but that's one of the reasons we didn't go to Galveston, because of that reason. Yeah. It was just gas alone would have been $2,000 for us to get there, and that's pulling just something small we have. So we didn't really do the fall rallies. We kind of did some recaps of the last few years. How did you think generally the fall rallies went?
Because they're all kind of back to back. It's Myrtle Beach, Daytona, Panama City, and then Galveston.
Again, financially, looking at it from a vendor's point of view, we were up at every single fall rally. So I have to say they were a win-win in my book, even though some of them weren't what we wanted them to be, but they were all up. I just can't complain about it in general. But again, in Panama, the spot that they're calling the strip now that used to be Lucky 13, we put Andre and Harry out there, and they did not do very well at all. Some of the other vendors over there didn't do well either. So I think, again, Chase needs to put some focus into that, some marketing, and, do it a little bit different.
And was that spring and fall they were at both of them?
Yeah, they were there both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because we've met them, we went out to dinner with you guys a few times.
So especially with Daytona, they had the hurricane right before you guys got there. Mm-hmm. How did that affect the crowd?
I think the crowd was definitely down some. I talked to many other vendors that were just complaining that they weren't doing well at all. And at first it looked like we weren't going to do all that well, but we ended up, at the very end, just pulling it over where we just barely beat last year's sales. And, like I said, from a business perspective, you always want to see that up over the next year rather than a down. And with a hurricane coming through just before, if I would have matched sales or been a little bit down, I would have completely understood, given the circumstances. I don't expect unreasonable things, but I do want to see that growth. So like I said, we were up, but a lot of vendors I talked to were not up. A lot of people didn't make it out there because hotels got damaged to where they weren't guaranteed a room anymore. So I know there was definitely a downturn in attendance. Plus, you got to figure out all the people that live somewhat locally that probably didn't rent hotel rooms, that were just going to drive out for the day and drive home at night. Well, with the hurricane, if they had damage or other things to deal with, Bike Week wasn't going to be top of their mind anyway. So I think that definitely had an effect. Again, from business perspective, we did well. It was,
and wasn't there a lot less vendors there at the Speedway?
There was, and the Speedway. I'm hoping. In fact, I'm going to write them an email this week, and hope that they will sit down and talk with me a little bit, because I've been there longer than almost any other vendor that's on the lot there, and I've seen a lot of changes, and some of them have been negative. And the team that took over running the venue this year were new to it, so they didn't know any better, and like, I had to explain certain things to them. Of course, I'm sure they've got their guidebook that they're looking at, that in black and white, this is how it works. But in reality, that's not always the way things can or will work. So there was a lot of stuff there that really needed attention. And I'm hoping that they will, at least, open their mind for a moment and listen to some of my suggestions. And a lot of the other vendors there, want to say the same thing. And so I'm going to try to be that spokesperson and talk with them about the issues and see if we can't pull that back. You mentioned earlier that, how everything is pretty much gone to Ormond, which isn't necessarily true, but I see exactly what you're talking about. You got the bars up there that are doing well. Destination Daytona is doing well. Main Street's starting to fade a little bit. The track is starting to fade. And I'd love to fix that. I have a really long history of clientele in Daytona, so I don't want to have to move my spot, because that will financially hurt me. Even if I go to another good venue, it will hurt me at first until I build better.
Figure out where you're at.
Exactly. I hate to say it, but sometimes even the best of customers have a hard time finding you when you move, and it's not a good thing. So if I can get them to to look at it from a different perspective. And I understand that they've got budgets they got to run and they've got to make a certain amount of money to make it worth it. But just like as a vendor, sometimes we have to take a hit when we go out someplace for the first couple of years until we build the clientele. They may have to do that as well so they can build it back up, because unfortunately they've tarnished the reputation there. And it's a perfect venue as far as the facility goes. I mean, they could host all of Bike Week there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
If they really wanted to, they could be the leading spot if they choose to. And it's just a matter of me having that conversation with them and hoping that they listen. They might not.
Well, I seen this year, for the spring rally, Harley went full out. I think they even had more stuff in Daytona this year than they had at in Sturgis. With all the stunts and all the different stuff they had. They had it was like, when I looked at that, I was like, holy crap, you got almost the whole front of this place is nothing but Harley Davidson. It's got
they had stunt shows, and they even had like the monster trucks there doing.
They had like over 300 bikes you could test ride on and stuff there. So it was like, it was very impressive. And I was like, wow, that's why I asked them. I said, you bringing all this to Sturgis? And they're like, well, we don't know. And they didn't bring out everything like they had there, but it was just,
they weren't there the fall either. So
they weren't. They didn't come back for fall.
No, none of the really big vendors did. And here's one of the problems with it. Again, I'm talking vendor perspective, is that the rent there in the spring is almost exactly what it is in the fall. But in the spring, we get 9 sale days, so we can make up that rent if we need to. In the fall, it's a 4-day rally, which is really a 2.5 to 3 day rally when you actually look at it.
Yeah. Most people come in for the weekend.
Yeah. But so for me to pay almost as much as I pay in Galveston, like I said, our rent there for the fall rallies, like $5,100 or something like that. And then, so you got to figure that with my profit margin on an oil change, I'm doing like the first 100 oil changes. That's like free. I don't even get to keep any of that money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm working to pay them. And at some point, they got to be realistic about that. They can't charge the same rate for a 4-day rally that they do for a 10-day rally.
That's true. I would agree. So, the next question was going to be, is there any rallies you're thinking about not doing, or is there any rallies you're thinking about adding?
I don't think I'm going to add any at this point. Like I said, we've cut back over the years. We used to do 19 to 22 rallies per year, but as we've grown, we're actually making better money doing less rallies. So I don't intend on adding any unless it just happens to be one of those. It's convenient. It happens to be on the way or something, which I don't see them starting any new rallies on our routes that would fall into that category. As far as dropping rallies, like I said, Laconia is iffy. I love going there, but at one point in time, Laconia was one of the rallies in a loop that we would do. So we would go to Myrtle, well, basically straight from Panama to Myrtle, then up to Ohio, and then across to do the one in Lake George, New York, and then we'd hit Laconia, and then on the way out of Laconia, we would do Johnstown. So Laconia didn't have to pay for all that fuel there all by itself. Yeah. But this year, we drove from home to Laconia, turned around and drove all the way back home with no other rallies there. So that rally had to justify all of those expenses. And luckily this year it did, and I think next year it will too. But after that, I'm really worried on whether it can. And obviously fuel prices are going to dictate a lot of that decision. We don't know how that's going to go over the next couple of years. And I hate to say it, Lone Star is one of the ones that I'm really considering because, again, it's an expensive rally. That my rent there was $5,600 or something like that for 4 days, and the add fuel. Now coming from Panama, it's not that bad. I only use half a tank of fuel to get from Panama there, but then I use a tank and a half to get home. So when it's all said and done, we're looking at over $2,000, $2,500 in fuel at current prices.
Yeah.
On top of the rent. So and then you have, I'm $10,000 in just to do that show minimum. And I'm not counting salaries for Chip and Finn and Joey or whoever yet. People forget that even though sometimes we make good money there, we've got a lot of expenses that we have to pay out.
And sometimes all the time, a lot of those guys do it.
Yeah, and sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like gambling. Sometimes I think I better have better chances walking into the casino and throwing $10,000 down on black. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got just as good of a chance of making money. Although we did do better this year in Galveston than we did last year. So, I had kind of a number in my head, and I said, if we don't get to this number, then we're just not going to do it anymore. and we pretty much got to the number. We missed it by a tiny bit, but enough that I have to at least give it another try. So as of right now, we'll definitely keep it on the block for 2023, but we're definitely going to keep a close eye and stuff like that. You know, the thing is, I don't want to just come home and sit either, you know, but it's got to make sense. I can't drive and spend all that time to lose money. And we didn't lose money, don't get me wrong, but we had a really good weather this year too. Had we had a rain day or two, it could have went completely the other direction. And so it's that borderline that, you know, like I said, Sturgis, we got 10, actually Sturgis, we have 14 days. So if I get 5 days of rain, I can still make up for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But in a 4-day show, you get 1 day of rain, there is no making up for it. No. Not likely. So
it's tough. Have you ever did Milwaukee?
We've done Milwaukee a couple times with epic fails.
And we're going to go this 2023, we're going to go.
Well, just because it's 120.
I know a lot of vendors go that. They went with this year. And Speeds weren't very happy with it at all. They complained about his dyno, and they made him turn it off and all this stuff. And they told him they begged him to come. And then after they got there, they told him, we don't want you to use your dyno. So they weren't.
So then they said we couldn't even make any money.
Yeah, so they weren't real
happy.
And
they asked them to come. They said they weren't looking to go.
Yeah, so they're not going this year. But pretty much everybody else all says there's a lot of big money to be made during that week. So we're going to go just to say we've been there, and that's right before Sturgis. So we'll be there right before Sturgis.
So from what I understand, that rally on the 5-year anniversaries, you can do pretty well. Now, the last time we did it was on the 115th because it was anniversary year. Everyone said it was good. Chase had a lot that, again, was a perfect venue. It was right over there on the waterfront. It was a great piece of property. Again, no traffic out there. We did absolutely terrible. And I just decided I'm not going to do it again. If I couldn't make money on an anniversary year, there's no way I'm going to go there and make money on a non-anniversary year.
Right.
The first year we did it, I think it was 16. And in fact, I bought my Harley up there at the one that was in Berlin, New Berlin. Yeah, New Berlin, Harley Davidson. But again, we were at a Harley dealer that time, so they wouldn't allow me to do oil changes. So all I did was set up a 10 by 20, and we sold love jugs. And we didn't do that great. In fact, because I bought a motorcycle, we actually lost money there. But the motorcycle has then paid for itself, many times over since then. But with that next year, I just can't do Milwaukee again. I just can't justify it. I mean, I'd have to be in the area for some other reason,
Yeah.
And actually, next year it conflicts with the 3-wheeler rally, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
it is.
Yeah, in fact, I think Dan Kite's not doing the 3-wheeler rally because he's going to go do the anniversary show instead.
July 13th through the 16th, and and I think that is the same day.
Yeah, same day, because we're going to end up being in Sturgis on the 19th is when we show up in the Sturgis.
Yeah. Now I'll be in that area just afterwards because Amsoil is actually having their 5-year convention up in Superior, Wisconsin, that following weekend. So I think we're going to leave Deadwood, we may just fly out rather than driving Goliath all the way back and turn around and driving Goliath back out to Rapid City again. So we may just fly in for the convention for the 3 or 4 days, stay in a hotel, and then fly back out. But like that would be the perfect year to maybe do the Milwaukee rally because we have to be in the area anyways. But then we'd have to give up the Deadwood, which we're starting to build clientele there, and I don't want to do that either. So
I know it's tough. It's a tough call all the way around.
Yeah, one of the problems with me too is I feel. I get to a point where I feel obligated to my customers. So I hate canceling rallies because I feel like the clientele I've built there, then I let them down. So now if I don't show up in Deadwood next year, now those people that were expecting me or hoping I'd be there are disappointed. And I hate doing that, But at some point, you have to make those decisions if it doesn't work. And luckily with the YouTube thing, we've been able to get the word out. And I think that's one of the reasons that, some of these shows that weren't doing well, even though the truth is my YouTube revenue sucks. I mean, we're not hardly making any money on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think the use of the YouTube has definitely helped in the rally sales.
I think you're getting your customers are seeing you on YouTube, so then they can find you where you're at. Yeah. So you're not, which is tough. It's like now some videos I did one on Sturgis hotels, which I thought would be a great video, and it barely hit
today.
And it's like it sucked. Nobody seems to be watching it.
It's always funny. He puts videos up. He's like, I can't believe that video's doing that good. And then he's all excited about a video. He puts it up, and he's like, it's not doing anything. It's like it's hit or miss.
You just don't. The algorithms, which is just really weird, and it's I don't know.
A couple people are asking about Little Sturgis in Kentucky. They say that's on the way up to Sturgis too. But as a vendor, you could probably go there and do that. But as a YouTuber, there's no reason for us to go because none of that we can put on YouTube.
Yeah.
The same thing with Hog Rocks.
Yeah, the one that's in Illinois. So it would be good for if you wanted that kind of content, which we could put on a Patreon. But I would hate to spend 4 or 5 days at one of these rallies and then see some of the stuff. It's kind of like Glencoe, which we've been talking to some people that are in Glencoe. We could probably get away with bringing our GoPros and stuff in there and film stuff, but we're only limited. We're limited to the 50 or 75 people that are on our Patreon page, and that's it. Well, it's great. They are paying us, but it's I don't know. I don't know how much of that you need. We're actually trying to get our photographer guy that did Topless Tuesday. We're trying to talk him into doing those rallies, and I wouldn't have to go at all. And that would work better for me, and I wouldn't have to do it because we're not doing Topless Tuesday.
But also consider that if you had content on there that may increase those Patreon subscribers, it may end up making it worth it. But that's a whole other conversation. Yeah.
But what's bad about that is it's just like now the rallies are all over, so we've lost 10 of my Patreon people just dropped off. Yeah. Because we're not doing any more topless stuff. It's all pretty much wrapped up. I still got some pictures that I've got to put through, but with us doing the garage, and I haven't had enough time. We've been putting some other videos up for them, but nothing that's explicit video. So it's I don't know. It's Patreon's just weird. Not really weird, but I've got some people that I think are Patreon people that never watch any of our videos that we are
put
on Patreon.
Stuff up and it's
like 4 people watch it. Well, I've got like 30 people that are subscribed on there, and they're paying money, and
I think
1 or 2 people click on it, maybe to give us money.
Yeah,
that's what we thought. A way that they can give money every month. They don't have to worry about it. But it is what it is, and it's. We do put we'll put more pictures probably lately. We've been doing some pictures we've been putting on there, especially the garage. They've seen a lot more stuff on the garage. We did a video on the garage, and I think 1 guy watched it. And we were ready to take that and put it back out and let everybody else see it. Because I thought, hey, I'll let you guys see this, see something that we're not, not everybody else has seen yet. And I think 1 or 2 people watched it, and that was it. So it's like,
That's what Marcus said. Kentucky is definitely an adult content only.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different things like that, but also people get paranoid when you see you running around with video cameras. And because they know, for instance, we are YouTubers, so they know it's going someplace. And, it's even when you're in Las Vegas, we have people when we're walking down the strip and they're half dressed and everybody's looking at them. But as we walk by a camera, they give us a dirty look like, why are you filming us? Well, dude, you're on the sidewalk. You've given me permission because we have that problem. I don't think you've ever ran into that. We've had a couple people that tell me you can't film me. And I'm like, you're on Main Street in Sturgis. You have no rights. There's nothing you can tell me I can't film you. I said, also, if you look up there, there's a camera.
Webcam.
You're already on a webcam. They've already seen you, which is shocking for us. I can't believe how many people find me on that webcam.
And send us pictures. Yeah. They'll freeze it and take a picture of it.
And I'm like, I don't know how they do it.
Our daughter, we were going to do a live at Iron Horse. And what happened was, he said, well, you get off it because the table that we usually sit at was open. He said, you get off and go get the table and I'll find a place to park because it was busy. I said, all right. So I get off and I go get the table and I sit down and I'm only there a couple of minutes. And my daughter sends me a picture of him driving down Main Street on the bike without me. She wants to know where I'm at and why Dad's driving down Main Street without me. And I'm like, he just dropped me off like 2 minutes ago.
I don't know. So
one of her friends saw it, sent it to her, and then she sent it to me. And I'm like, holy cow.
So it's funny. What else was on our list?
Stalkers. We got stalkers.
Well, which is fine. Which is what I don't know if you've ever had this. Have you had a knock on your door at night? A YouTuber, a subscriber?
Not yet, luckily.
Okay. We've never had that.
We never have either.
We have horror stories from some of our friends that are big YouTubers, and we've never run into that. We've never. I think you're like us. You like to meet the people. You like to talk to them. We have some YouTubers that we know that don't even want to talk to anybody, and to me, that's part of the fun is meeting the subscribers, especially people that are on here and they chat with us, and to be able to meet them and put a face with them, because you picture one person, and then like there's one person that we always talk to all the time and found out he's only 30 years old. And it's like, holy crap, I thought it was like a 65-year-old guy. And then we have another guy that we were just totally shocked. We couldn't believe what he looked like. He wasn't, same thing. I thought he was a really old guy, and he's not that old. And he was just very different. But it's just, you always put you put a picture in your mind.
Yes. It's like when you talk to somebody on the phone all the time, and then you finally meet him. It's like, whoa, it's not all what I was expecting.
Yeah. No, but I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I really enjoy meeting the people, and I know that there are some YouTubers that are just not there. I'd like to think that most of our viewers are going to be respectful enough to understand that there's a time and a place. I know that not all of them will, but I'd like to think that most of them are intelligent enough to not, if they see us in a truck stop, don't knock on the door at 3:00 in the morning or something like that. You know what I mean? If you see me up and around, absolutely talk to me. Now, I did have one guy knock on the door in an RV park somewhere just because he wanted to talk about my truck. He had no idea I was a YouTuber. He just saw Goliath in an RV park and knocked on the door and wanted to talk about the truck. Luckily, it was in the middle of the day, though. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon, so it wasn't like an inconvenience or anything. I didn't mind whatsoever.
Yeah.
But another YouTuber that I watched that owns a trucking company, has got multiple trucks out on the road. I mean, he's had to literally publicly say, guys, please do not wake up my drivers when they're in the truck stops. And the drivers aren't even on YouTube, but the company name is on the side of the truck, and they'll knock on the truck and go, hey, and the driver's never been on YouTube in his life. He knows that the owner of the company has a YouTube channel, but he's had to ask. But and I'm not going to mention any names, but when we were in Sturgis, we went out to dinner with Ron Emery HVAC, and he told us that he had met another YouTuber, which is another really big YouTuber, way bigger than me, but similar name. And I guess that when he met him, he said something like, "Hey, does it ever get old? All these people want to come up and meet you." And the guy went, "Yeah, it gets really effing old." You know what I mean? Like, he was a jerk about it, and even Ron said, "Wow, he just put a bad taste in his mouth." And I really hope that I never get that way.
I know.
This is like I tell people, if I'm filming, if I'm interviewing somebody, don't interrupt me. Like, we felt sorry. When we were doing the gauges in Myrtle Beach last year, and I could see the guy kept coming up, and he really wanted to talk to us. But I mean, we were doing the install of the gauges, and you probably could have went and talked to him, but we ended up never talking to him, and he didn't come back.
Then when we looked around for him, he was.
And then he did come on one of our lives or something and made a comment and said, I missed you and I didn't get to see you, and which is tough because with you it's nice because they know where you're at.
Yeah.
Where with us, we're
there all day.
Yeah, we're running around all day, and so that's why I said we're going to do the buffalo chip this year. And once the rally starts, we're going to pretty much stay on the chips property the whole rally, other than maybe go get something to eat or something like that, and do all of our pre-rally stuff when we first get there. So once Friday starts, we pretty much stay on the chip, and we've got a bunch of I think we've got over 20 RVs that are
going to stay with us,
stay in the area that we're at, and so it'd be something different from what we've normally done. We want to kind of have a fun time with everybody. Still film stuff, but not be.
Hi, monkey.
Is not running around as much, and because that's what we do. We probably spend so much time, just like you go out to Topless Tuesday. That's an hour ride out there and an hour back, so you wasted 2 hours of time plus the time that you're out there. If you're out there all day long, which we've done it before. We were there at 8:00 and we're there till 5:00. And then you get back, you got to edit it and get it out that same day, which I don't know how you do it, where you work all day and then you're 3:00 in the morning, you're still finishing your last video up. And,
I sleep very little during rally, very little.
And but yeah, it's like somebody the other day, I don't know what rally they were talking about. I don't know if it was Sturgis or what, and they call it no sleep time. That they get all their sleep right before the rally starts, and then they go, now it's rally time, I'm not going to sleep the rest of the time I'm there. Which we met a couple people that were there for a day or two in Sturgis, and we're like, oh, where are you staying at? And they're like, nowhere.
They're up 24/7 for the 3 days they're there. They ride their bike
around and they party and they don't stay anywhere.
Interesting. Too old for that now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done it in my 20s, but not anymore.
That's what she's saying about the buffalo chips. We're going to be up past midnight several times, and she's like, I'm going to have to take a nap sometimes during the day. So I'll find time to do it. I don't know when that's going to be, but
if you don't see me for a few hours, you'll know where I'll be. But he's real good at that too. He'll say, because we tell everybody where we're going to be and where we're staying, and he'll say, just don't come knocking at our door in the middle of the night. If you see us out or you think we're there, that's fine. But other than that, just don't knock. Do need a few minutes of privacy at night.
Yeah.
Anything else for Adam?
I don't think so. We just wanted to talk
It's already
about
late for
rallies.
him.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. One thing I wanted to ask is I noticed that like a lot of questions came up for me, but I wasn't able to answer them because I didn't want to talk over Bob or trying to listen. So if anybody has any other questions, put them up. Let Tam pick which ones to ask, and I can do a little Q&A if need be, if anybody's interested. If not, then we'll just I'll go watch somebody else's YouTube channel for a little while. I don't know.
Well, I think I tried to write them down, so I think I asked.
Well, we'll
you
see if
most
there's
of
anybody
them.
else has any more questions for Adam.
Adam,
you can type them in, and we'll get him to answer it. So between now and Daytona, what are you thinking about doing? What's your plan?
I've got an extremely long list of things that I'm pretty sure 90% of them won't get done. I've got a lot of work to do on Goliath. I'm still debating whether I'm going to do any work to that Kenworth. Right now, the trucking market's in the trash, so I'm afraid to throw any money into it, even though I hate the fact that it's just sitting there. But I'm looking at, $10,000 to get that thing on the road, and to do what? Go out there and lose money? So I don't know. I've got house projects to do as well around here. So much stuff. I may even go for another road trip type thing, roadkill. I'm not publicly saying what it is yet because it's not set in stone, but I can't even think of all the things that need to get done right now that probably won't ever get done. I got to sit down and really make a list.
Do you still have the motorhome then?
Yeah, I still have
it. You got in Sturgis, you brought back?
Yeah, and that's not even on the list yet. I mean, yeah, I'd love to do something with it.
That's not even on the list.
It's so long, it's not even on the list yet. But I really want to play with that some.
Yeah. Like I said, you bought it thinking you were going to do something with it.
Well, and I have plans for it. I just some of the plans I want are the budget isn't necessarily there for it just yet. I'm hoping that the YouTube will grow enough to where some of the revenue can help justify some of the projects. So as of right now, I have not spent any of my YouTube revenue. I've got a bank account, so when AdSense pays me, it goes an account, and I'm just kind of waiting until there's enough there to start working on projects. And I think the profit from the t-shirts and everything I'm gonna throw into that fund as well. Like I said, I mean, I pay myself out of my Extreme Bikes company, so I have not paid myself out of YouTube yet. So, and I'm hoping that way, if I reinvest that money, it creates more content, which will then make more money, whatever. Hoping that it will work out. But right now there just isn't enough money there to really jump into a project. I mean, I can spend more on one engine rebuild than I've made in 2 years of YouTubing. So, I got to be very careful about how I spend the money. Yeah.
People are always like that to me. They're like, "Oh, you guys are making so much money on YouTube." I said, "Yeah, but you don't know what our expenses are. We spent twice what we made last year."
Yeah.
So it's like we're not making, and everybody thinks, because as I say, this year, especially in Sturgis, there was a big boom of all these new YouTubers that came out and putting videos out, and I think that kind of hurt all of us for volume wise, just because there was so much other stuff.
So much content.
It's like I tell people, it's just like your video. Unless they're a vendor, they can't really do what you do. And it's like us. This is all we do. So unless you're going to just take your rally and say, screw it, I'm not going to party, I'm not going to go drinking, I'm not going to go do what I want to do, I'm going to put content out the whole time, then you can be like me. But most people aren't going to spend $4,000 to go to a rally and work the whole time, and maybe you'll make money and maybe you won't. But in our case, I enjoy making what I do. We're trying to find a way to make more money, to make it feasible. Same reason why we didn't end up going to the fall rallies. Because that's what I told her. I said, we're thinking if we would do it next year, we may fly to Daytona and do the fall rally in Daytona. Probably still won't do. We're actually not even sure if we're going to do Panama City at all this year. If we can't get somebody that wants to either put us up or have a place we can park the RV, it just isn't worth me. The campground's gone from $500 now up to $750. And I don't get that really nobody's really interested in Panama City. There's a handful of people that look at the video and that's it. Mm-hmm. And you're better off just doing a few lives there and save from doing any work, because you're going to get the same views off your live as all the work you spent putting it in. And that's what we look at rallies now. The 4-day rallies just suck. There's just not enough content there for me to do a 4-day rally anymore. And when people say, well, oh man, I know you want us to come to your rally, and it would probably be a lot of fun. But for us, the expense, which like Galveston, we blew it off and we had it down. We canceled the campground and everything, but it would have cost me, with the gas and the campground, would have cost me $3,000. I made $600 off of this week.
Yeah.
So I'd have been in a hole. Man, I would have probably got a little bit more content because I would have been there.
Yeah.
But there's still half the people who watch the videos thought we were there because they're like, oh, I wish we could have met up. Well, maybe next year.
Yeah.
So I never told anybody we weren't, and that's why we wrote Revisited, because somebody wrote on my channel, which is actually from Mexi Philly, and said, oh, you're not even here. I didn't say I was there. I said, and if you didn't catch the girl at the beginning that said, welcome to 2021 Bike Week or Panama City, that should have been your first clue. I didn't take that out. I rearranged some of the stuff because I had a couple videos that, which I still got one coming up, that is from Sturgis, that they red flagged. They wouldn't give me no money off of it. Now I didn't do anything to it. I just moved some stuff around, and they're going to give me, they monetized it. So it's like, let's put it back out again, see if we can get some views, make some money on this one. But it's like when you look at this stuff, it's like the buffalo chip. We're talking to them about trying to get something from them. We've tried a couple, we thought we had Progressive in the bag, the insurance. We had 3 people come up to us and say, we'll get you in the Progressive. Just fill all the stuff out. Filled it all out, and nobody's calling us back. And
not yet, but he's working on it.
So we don't know what. So it's like, that's why I said, if I could get a big sponsor that would say, hey, we'll pay you to go to all these rallies, well, then yeah, I can put videos out. And if they tell me, hey, the Progressive won't let you, you're not allowed to put the girls on. And I'm like, that's the only reason I put the girls on is because you're trying to get people to you want click rate.
What if you use the Progressive girls? Because the Progressive always brings beautiful girls out.
Definitely use them, but they don't like the girls in the bikinis and like the buffalo chip.
They just say they're very conservative.
Yes, which is fine. I'm okay with that if that's, and then I also might be doing rallies that they might say, hey, we'll pay you to go to Ocean City. Okay, we'll fly in, we'll rent a freaking bike, and if they're going to pay for it all, I don't need a salary. I just need the expense. That's what we make enough money off of our retirement to survive. It's just the expense of us going out and doing all these rallies. You've got at least a job to do. We don't really have a job when we get there. We're not got any money coming in other than everybody watching our videos.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say, which is why we made the extra trip back to Sturgis, because we're trying to get it set up with the dealership, with the city, and with the buffalo chip to give us enough content that we can put a video out every week on Sturgis, and we'll be putting stuff out that nobody else knows about that has happened. It's kind of like the dealerships here. We found out, nobody knew Black Hills Harley was for sale. Daytona, I'm not sure if there was no videos out till after we put one out that said that they had sold. And so we're slowly, which is a lot of people say that too. How do you guys get all these contacts? She spends a lot of time on the phone, and that's what I said. People don't realize.
He does all the videos and editing, and I do all the legwork.
Yeah, so she's calling all these people, making contacts and talking to them, and then we've built a relationship up, which is like Shelly Rossmeyer. We're really scared to death that she won't be there this spring. And last year she was just so overwhelming, helpful, and we got such great content and everything from her. But she figured out, hey, these guys are good. They're not going to badmouth me.
They're helping us out.
I'll give them open doors. They can do anything they want, do a live in our showroom, but if another YouTuber, she'll like, no. But we've done our 3 years of diligency with her. And a lot of people, Buffalo Chip's the same way.
Due diligence.
We're the only, hopefully there's not any YouTube on here that'll hurt your feelings. We are the only YouTube channel that Rod actually knows who we are. He doesn't know when I talk about some of these other big ones.
Well, once we tell him who they are, what they've done, then he's like,
I think he's just agreeing with us.
Yeah.
I don't think he really, because I was shocked that he knew who we were. I had no idea. And for some reason, he likes us and we get along with him. And we're hoping that it'll grow to something bigger. And but I mean, this year is going to be really great. He's pretty much just said, whatever you guys want to do, we can do. We're going to have a wedding on the first day on Friday. We're going to have a wedding on the stage. One of our subscribers is going to get married. Going to have a big blowout. No, we're not getting married. We're already married. Got a big blowout for that. We're going to have a barbecue. We're hoping that the main act that comes on the first Saturday, that we get VIP.
Like a party with him.
Well, we get to meet in his trailer, to meet with the stars that are going to be the first Saturday night band, the main headliner. And then no telling what else. He's got stages that they're building on the side. We're going to be doing lives from there. We got the girls that are in the bikini contest. They're all going to do lives with us. Big on camera. All you guys can talk to all the girls and meet them and get more personal with them. So it's all this stuff. Is like when we tell him that, he's like, yeah, sounds good. Whatever you want. We're like, okay, sounds good to us too. Because it's like us. We look. But which is what, because people say that, well, you stayed there in 2021, but you didn't stay there last year. And I said, well, the reason we didn't stay the first year, we paid for everything. I put out all the money. Kathmandu offered us a great opportunity and saved us a lot of money, and we did his. And
got to meet and greet you. Move your sign. Move your body.
Move my body.
That's one of our signs. It says, "Welcome to Bob and Tam's meet and greet."
Yeah.
That was one of the signs from the thing. You can't really see it, but
they'll be on the when we get the garage all done. And but it was just it's with the buffalo chip. We've been in the buffalo chip probably 2 or 3 times over the 10+ years we've been going to Sturgis. 12+ years going to Sturgis. I had no idea all the crap that buffalo chip does. It is the Disneyland for motorcyclists. There's 12 bike shows going on. They got not even counting the concerts. They got Bikini Beach. They got they got a slip and slide for adults. And they got swing. They got all this stuff going on. They got all the biker games you want to play. And they've got just endless amount of stuff going on. And I want to tell people about that. That's, I don't know how many more years we'll do it after that. But.
So here's another question for him.
All right. Adam's got a question. Are your T-shirts for sale on your
site yet?
He already said that. No.
No, I know.
We're going to get that ball rolling this week. Hopefully, maybe next week they'll be up, but I can't promise that till I talk to my web designer.
So what I'm going to do is I need to talk to you this week about your T-shirts. You might want to go a different route. We don't make as much money on our T-shirts, but I have no money invested in it. They take care of the shipping. They take care of the making them. They make them within the ones we got on there now. Within a week, they can have their shirt. So they print them up pretty quick, and you don't have to buy nothing because it's for you to buy them and stock them and sell them. That's just a lot of cost. And where here you make up your logo, and then you just paste them on all the shirts, and then you put them in your store, and you're done. And then people buy them, and then they send you same thing. It's AdSense money or whatever.
You can call him.
So we can explain how that works, but it's. I'd like to buy and sell shirts like you're doing, but to try to figure out what size to buy for people. And, you're going to want that guy that wants 4X and I don't have any 4X left, or you want the one that wants a small and I had to order a dozen smalls and I never sold the rest of them and they're still laying in here. And, so any more questions you got?
No, I think that was about it.
All right. I knew there were a bunch of questions earlier in the show, but.
Yeah, well, she's kind of wrote some of them down, and some of them were things that they were kind of repeat ones. Some of them we waited because one person asked, what was your most profitable one? We kind of waited for the end for that. And a couple ones I seen pop up, they were ones that I knew you would get to in a regular conversation.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty neat. So we want to thank Adam for coming on. We'll probably get Adam on.
Don't forget to subscribe to his channel so we can get to 10,000.
Right. So he's really close, and there's no reason why he's been hanging around this 1,000 since Sturgis. Haven't you been fighting to get 10,000 since you went to around 9,000 in Sturgis?
Yeah, it's definitely a little slower than I would have hoped. Yeah, I thought that we hit the 10,000 while we were at Sturgis.
We're asking all of you to go over there and just don't click on it. Watch a video. Watch one video. Click the subscribe. Give him a thumbs up. Write him a comment. Say, hey, I seen you on Bob and Tam. So at least he knows where you came from. We got this month. I've got over 300 new subscribers. You guys go over there and sign up with him. That way he'll break his 10,000, so we can at least end up his rally season on a big high for him.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He's been waiting for that 10,000, and I don't know if you know Ozark Ryder.
I don't know him personally, but I've seen his posts.
He just broke 10,000 the other day, and after I wrote him, we met him in Lake of the Ozarks. He's a really nice guy. And I know he's been working a long time trying to get his up to that.
It seems like you reach a plateau, and it's like, man, you don't seem like you're getting anywhere.
Same like here. We got around here.
We got like 15, and it was like, we couldn't get anywhere past 15.
You see some of these other YouTubers that jump to 60,000. It's like,
what the heck?
I'm not gonna, I don't want to sell nonstop trying to sell everybody everything, and I don't want to make stories up either.
Oh, when do you go live, Adam? Are you going to do a live?
I don't have any set times or dates for doing lives or anything like that. I'm on your channel live more than I'm on mine. We've only done 2 total so far, but
it's tough. It's tough.
He likes to do it because once we turn the computer off, he's done. You don't have to edit. You don't have to do anything.
When we first started doing this, it's very hard to do a live because you got to see when you're making a video, you already kind of think about what you want to say and what you want to do. You can turn the camera off and you can go back, and if I said something stupid, you could take it out and not, or if you show something you don't really want to say. Where this, you can actually go back in here and I can take things out, but I don't fool with that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will do that on lives. I'm not interested. I might do something later on with them, but at this point, I like it when I can turn this off. I'm done. And if we can get 1,000 or 1,500 views off of this, it adds up. But what's nice about these is people watch it for a longer period of time. You know, I might do a 2-hour video, but it'll say I collected 28 hours of view time.
Yeah.
So that's the part that it helps my channel. It's kind of like doing the shorts. Now, shorts are going to start paying us pretty soon. There's
supposedly. I'm not having much luck with the shorts, but I get a couple hundred views. Nothing big yet.
And we've only had a couple of them that gone.
You got to accidentally trip or something, or fall.
We haven't had any go viral like some of these people that get million views, but we've had a couple that got over 1,000 views, which is pretty nice for something that's only a few seconds long. And we did in Sturgis. I think a couple of the ones we did in Sturgis said breaking news, and we're just letting you know we were in Sturgis. And
so is Amsoil Adam? Is that what your YouTube is?
Yeah, the YouTube is just Amsoil Adam at YouTube or whatever, however they do it. Yeah, if you just Google Amsoil Adam, it'll come up.
Did you sign up for your new name?
You mean the handle thingy?
Yeah.
Yeah. They sent me a thingy. I guess Amsoil Adam is my handle.
Okay, because you like us, we did. What it ends up being is it's YouTube, or it's like ours is going to be Bob and Tams at yahoo.com or at
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. So that way, what you can do is you tell people that, and then it's easy for them to find it.
Yeah.
So it's like us. We still got our full
name. Our names, because Bob and Tam's Excellent Adventure kind of gets to be a mouthful after a while.
So that's like our website is Bob and Tams. We changed the email to Bob and Tams. So we kind of do that. We're not going to really change our name on our website or on our YouTube, but that way, I know a lot of people aren't signing up for it, and it's sometimes these things pop up, and if you don't, I clicked on it right away and picked it because I could put down I wanted to be Amsoil Adam and I would have got it.
Yeah.
It's first come, first serve. So
that's why I did mine as soon as I could.
And I clicked on that, and then what else? Is there something else new that's going to be coming out? I can't think. Oh, well, you're not there yet. Well, you got a long way to go. We made it though. At 20,000 subscribers, starting the first of the year, you're going to be able to put links up here that people can click on to go to a product that you're selling. Like if you're selling T-shirts, you could say, hey, click right now. You could buy T-shirts today, and they can click that and go to your website. So it's something new. I don't normally put a lot of that stuff there because I've heard the bad thing about that too. That if you're in the middle of a video and then go, oh yeah, by the way, you can check me out in Galveston yesterday. We were just left Galveston. Well, if they click on that video, you just lost them on
the one you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I don't know.
Mark had a question there also about doing oil changes at the Buffalo Chip. And Mark, the big reason that I don't is one, staffing. So we put Andre and Harry out at full throttle, but understand that they don't work for me. They're their own thing. I did kind of help them get started. I kind of trained them. We work together. But they are their own business. They are not, you going to them doesn't benefit me. Going to me doesn't benefit them whatsoever. I do want to expand and take things to the next level next year. But I've got to do it very carefully. With the way this economy is, one wrong choice could make or break. And right now, the big problem is having a crew there that can run it the way that I would run it, because I can't be there and be in Rapid City at the same time. So I need one that can manage the site, and at least 2 guys that can actually work on the motorcycles, and they've got to know what they're doing, because if they screw up, it's my name on it. I'm really, really picky about that. Yeah. So I do want to expand, but I'm just very leery about doing it the right way.
Well, see, there's a lot of things, like, for instance, the Buffalo Chip, I don't think you can go in there now because they got that contract now with Fozzie's Garage. And he does tires, batteries, and oil changes.
Yeah.
And then the Indian dealer, too, whoever that guy is.
Well, they're actually going to go after him because Fozzie had told me last year that they were supposed to be doing the new tunes on the Indians, and they started doing oil changes. So the Fozzie's at the end of the rally, that's what he said. I'm going to have to go talk to Rod because we're supposed to be doing the oil changes up front here, and now they're starting to do them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what he has to pay for that big shop. They built that shop and stuff for him, so I have no idea what.
Yeah, so that may not even be an option. But again, we do plan on doing some expansion stuff next year, especially for the Sturgis rally, and I am going to need to hire some people. Yeah. In fact, I need a 50s pinup girl for Sturgis.
There you go.
If anybody knows.
There you go. That'll get you going.
There you go.
All right, we'll let you go, Adam. We got just a couple more things we want to talk about after you go.
And it's been on 2 hours.
Yeah, we've already did our 2 hours tonight. So,
Yeah.
we're pretty good. We had a pretty good crowd too. Most of the
Yeah.
time I looked down, we had over 90 people. So we had a pretty good crowd most of the night. So appreciate that. That kind of helped us out for our Wednesday because Wednesdays have been kind of sucked for us. We did Sundays. We talked about that before we started. That Sundays is what we normally do, and that's according to TubeBuddy, which is one of the things I pay for to look at my statistics. They said Sunday's still my better time between 3 in the afternoon and 7 Mountain Time. But so many people want to watch football. Well, I think there's a lot of people that don't watch football. So I don't see them during the week on our Wednesday one. So that's why I'm thinking maybe going back to Sunday nights or Sunday evenings, I guess. Evenings. Maybe come on a couple hours earlier than we normally would come on. But we never did get to ask Ratfink how the hurricane was going.
He said they were waiting for it.
He's down in St. Augustine's. Well, you know Ratfink.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, they're in the line of the hurricane. He sent me pictures yesterday that he trimmed his evergreen trees, the real tall ones, back far enough they don't land on the garage and his camper. And I said, well, hopefully the wind will blow the other way.
Yeah.
I said, you can't cut them all down. So hopefully it won't be too bad, but I'm hearing there's a lot of rain, so definitely going to I've seen a couple videos up of people, their RVs are underwater, and I got about a couple foot, I guess a foot in some of these RVs, so
looks like you'll get some t-shirt sales once you get your stuff up and going.
People looking. Otherwise, your design's pretty neat. It's the military one. I kind of like that one too. And
yeah, I actually like that better than my original design, mostly because that original design one I hand drew.
Okay.
And I wanted that to be like an example of what I was looking for. I didn't expect them to copy my hand drawing and print it on the shirt. But people are loving it, even though it's not perfect. It's kind of abstract, and maybe that's what people like. But I mean, and I am no artist by any means. But that me and Katie literally drawing blocks and trying to keep the letters as uniform as possible, and just, I mean, so that's not a font that exists anymore. That's hand drawn, and I wasn't expecting
that might be a collector's item one day.
That might be worth some money.
Who knows? But yeah, I got plenty of them with the black stripe and with the red stripe. So far they've actually been selling pretty good at the rallies. So
good.
Sounds good.
All right.
So make sure you go to Adam's site, Amsoil Adam, on YouTube, and subscribe. Watch one of his videos, because if you just click the subscribe button, it doesn't help anybody. No. We lose all those people. They come and go. We lose probably 50 a month that never watch a video, and then YouTube looks at it and says they look at it as a bot.
We had somebody in a restaurant today at Culver's, and she's like, "Oh, let me sign
and
right
by
now."
Tomorrow she'll be gone if she don't watch a video. So you go in and watch one video, take a quick watch a video, hit the
playlist and just let them all play.
There you
go. That's
what
we tell people. Help us out with money. That always helps out if we go to that playlist and let them play. Put your phone down or leave the computer running, let them play through all those fancy commercials and help make us a little bit of change.
People have told me that my voice helps them with like that ASMR stuff, whatever exactly that is. Yeah, just play it and let my voice put you to sleep.
There you go. There you go. You can make some money doing that.
Maybe you ought to maybe start changing your title on a couple of them and say, hey, you could just read from a book.
Could be. All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. And until next time I see you, keep those engines running.
Thanks. Bye, Adam. Tell Katie bye. Whoop, she's gone.
All righty. So we just have a couple. Pull that out of my ear. Just got a couple more things to go. So hang in just a few seconds here. Let me look at my list.
Can you read my writing?
Not really. Oh, so what else we're doing next year? Our very first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to the Mecum auction in Las Vegas. So it's really neat to go to. We go through YouTube. We actually got one of the CEOs. I don't know how I got her phone number, but she loved us, and we got some really neat things we're going to do this year with them. I was just telling her we need to call her and tell her this stuff that I want to do, and I think she'll do it. We're the only YouTube channel, which would probably be more, because a lot of you guys that are YouTubers, you look at this stuff and it's like, if they can do it, why can't we do it? Well, you can.
Let's get on.
But we're already in the door. We already got our connection, so you're going to have a tough time catching up with where we're at today when we get there to do the stuff that we do. And that's fine. I don't mind other YouTube channels. I don't even mind helping you, just like Adam. I didn't realize it the other day. I forgot all about it, that we actually helped Adam get his channel going and helped me build it up. And I've had people ask me, hey, can you help me do what you did for Adam? well, I can help you, but unless Adam was different because he was at
at
every rally.
Yeah, he was there when we went, so we could.
So it was
keep
easy
him
to go and
going.
talk to him. He would talk on our camera,
Sturgis would be
bring him
fun.
on lives. It was, we know each other. We become friends, and because we see him at the rallies all the
There
time.
you go.
And some of the other YouTubers we don't see all the time. You know, it's like even Prime Cut Pro, which is 960,000 subscribers. We only see him at the big events. He doesn't go to the smaller rallies and stuff like that. And we don't do the mud runs and stuff in Florida that he does. And some of the other ones, like the Monkey Man, he only has a handful of rallies that he does. Not saying we need to help him.
No,
but
he's doing good.
I mean, there's a lot of different people like that. You don't see him at all the rally. Adam Sandoval is down this weekend. He's going to be down in Mexico, which we decided we're not doing that one this year, which is kind of good with the weather going on. Kind of glad we didn't decide to go there either. So this worked out pretty good for us.
We probably would have rode our bike all the way down there.
So we already talked about that. You know, we're going to be doing Daytona this year, the spring rally. We're going from there. We'll be over at Leesburg for the 2 days of the rally there. We're looking at Panama City. If anybody's got an RV or a place we can park our RV, we can run a generator. If you got an extra room, we're not bringing the dog this trip because we're going to be traveling around with on the motorcycle a couple trips. Here, I got to go make a quick run. Finish up my list of things we're doing this year.
So after we go to the Mecum auction, that's January 24th through the 28th. Then we'll come home. We'll probably go see the kids. I think we've still got a babysitting job at the end of August or the end of January. Then we're going to head out toward Daytona. We'll be out there March 3rd through the 12th. Then we'll do Leesburg. We'll be out there for a day or maybe two. Leesburg's April 28th through the 30th. Oh, we're also going to be doing some stuff with Sons of Speed. That's during Daytona Bike Week. That'll be around March 5th. Not sure if we're going to go to Panama City. If we go to Panama City, if we have a place that's not too awful expensive to stay at. The place we've been staying, we thought it was a really good deal, but they keep raising the prices. Then after Panama City, we were talking about going to some manufacturers and bike builders in that southern region, like North Carolina. I think there's like 4 or 5 different places we wanted to go. We didn't know what you guys would think about that. If you would like us to do that, go to some manufacturers and bike builders in between all of those spring rallies. Then we'll come home, or we'll do Myrtle Beach. That's May 12th through the 21st. After we do Myrtle Beach, then we'll come home. Then we'll head out to Milwaukee. We're going to be up there the 13th through the 16th. Then we'll come back and we'll be in Sturgis July 19th, and Sturgis dates are August 4th through the 13th. We're thinking about doing Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue, and that's September 20th through the 23rd. So that's our plans for next year so far. So the only thing that's iffy is Panama City and maybe Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue, but everything else is pretty much things we're going to go and what we're going to do. So I guess everybody's already heard we had the announcement yesterday about the dealership, Ross Myers, which is now Teddy Morris, Daytona Harley Davidson, and they're going to be closed tomorrow at 3.
No, they closed today at 3.
Oh, they're closed today at 3. It won't be open until the 15th.
Tuesday.
There it's for employee training, orientation, and inventory for the dealership, switching hands there. So I think that's all we had. Was there something on the back?
Talk a little bit about the garage. We haven't done a whole lot because we've been gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was some of the things you were going to do.
The whole outside of the garage, now they've got it all nice and level out here. It's they packed it all down, so we're easy now. We can get in and out of the garage. Tomorrow I got to take the bike in tomorrow morning. Got to get up early. Got to get out there in that 50-degree weather and ride in the Kingman about 35 miles. And they're going to look at my bike. Sounds like he wants me to stay. She's going to follow me in the car just in case he wants to leave it there and bring it back. I might have a video. I have to see if the guy that allows me to videotape what he does.
They say he's quite the character.
Yes.
He's
So he might be
Marine, 100%. He may not be technically in the Marines.
They said which I've met all kinds of people. I'm pretty good with just about anybody. As long as you're just not an ass to me, I'm pretty much, I can joke around. I can have fun with people. I don't have a problem with that. I got pretty thick skin. You can call me names and stuff. I'm okay with that. I've been called a whole lot worse than what you probably call me now.
Just don't call him late for dinner now.
And so I'm okay with that. And so it might be a really good video tomorrow. We'll see what happens. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. I was planning on we got the pole up. I got to get my electric going. That's my next thing I want to get done is get the electricity so I can get it approved by the city, the county here, to where we can have electric in the garage here. Right now we're running the generator outside, and I prefer not to do that. I'd rather have electricity inside here. We're going to hook up the RV spot over here. It's all leveled up now. I got to fix the sewer, hook up some pipes, some other things. Hopefully all that'll be done in the next week or two. It's getting really good weather. We're going to be in the 60s the next 2 weeks, it looks like. So it'll be great weather to be working in the shop, getting the walls up. My daughter's father-in-law is going to help me. He's more of a carpenter than I am. I can pretty much do the walls here. You can't see behind it, 2x4s. We got the framing up here in the front part of the garage is done. We're going to do the walls back here. We got a bathroom we're going to build back here. I've never done plumbing. I can do plumbing. I can put a toilet in and stuff like that, but I've never did the pipes. So they put them in the concrete. I got to go from there and put a shower in there, a toilet in there, and a sink. I've done the sink and the toilet to already replace them, but I've never done it from scratch. So I got to run the water lines in and all that. I'm going to get a electric water heater probably, because I don't know if we're going to take more than a shower ever in here or not. And we got the RV too.
We've done a few on the garage. Have you put some up on a regular YouTube?
No.
Oh.
Most of the stuff has been on Patreon. We did a video, which I'm probably going to bring that video back out and let you guys see it. It's the one where I don't even know what I showed it, what I did on that video, but it was a video we did before we left
to go to Sturgis,
I think. And because we haven't done anything since Sturgis, have we? Okay, so before we went to Sturgis, we put a video up for the Patreon people.
Back, we couldn't. Yeah, the lot was all sandy. Yeah. He was trying to level everything out, and it was just all sand.
And so so now it's able. We backed up right up to the door here, unloaded all the lights and everything. Generator stuff I leave here. I want to bring. What my goal was tomorrow was actually going to bring all the stuff that I've got at home in the garage over here, my electrical wire, all my stuff that I've got, and try to find my pipes out here and get that going. And then next week, the daughter's father-in-law is going to be in town, and I'm going to have him help me build that. So all that's going to be good. Hopefully my brother, which I'll know here in the next week or two, if my brother's going to come out and help me do the electrical. If he's not, then I'm going to be doing it. Not the end of the world. I've done electrical, but I'm not an electrician like he is. And my things might not be exactly the right height like he would put it in, but hey, it is what it is. It works. I can do it and not burn the place down. So that's all good. The floor got painted. 100% happy with that. It's holding up real good. We drove the cars and stuff. Actually, I think I'm going to leave the truck after I gas the truck up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning at Sam's. Bring it in here and just leave it in the garage here. And then bring the golf cart over here. I want to get that over here. And then I want to start moving some of the tools. I got a new toolbox. I got a video on that, but we got to get it off the phone because I couldn't. We wanted to just put it up as a short. Got a new one of them big giant icon boxes from Harbor Freight. Got a great deal on it. They actually had it marked down, and they forgot to raise the price for the new increase. And so I got it that, and plus I got the extra 20% off or something off the box too. So got a really good deal on it. And I got that here. I got a few tools in it. And I want to bring some of the other stuff that I already bought. A lot of my other stuff I'm not going to bring over, the welders and the cutting torches and all that stuff. I'm not bringing any of that stuff over, but just hand tools that I can lock up in the box. And so the garage is coming along. The whole idea of the garage was, my goal was to have it completely done inside by the time we leave in February to come to Daytona. We're probably going to get early to Daytona. We've got to call our 2 people that we get to stay on the property with and see how we set that all up. So if you're in Daytona or like that, if you want to do some riding or before the rally, we'll probably be down there early. How early, I don't know, but we'll be down there. We'll let you know as we get closer to the new year how that's all going to work out. And we'll be giving you some updates on the buffalo chip. Right now, we haven't heard anything about any
Spit it out.
It's just, this is motorcycle. I'm a very organized person, and we used to do special events. So I've dealt with stuff, and most of my stuff runs pretty much like clockwork. I don't have too many issues very often. I do have some, but I can usually fix things before it gets really bad. To where nobody really knows it was a problem.
I just remember what you always used to tell the brides. Just plan on something going wrong because it will.
So we're looking. So when I go to these rallies, just like at Rod, when we first sat down with Rod, my intention was I wanted to do a video for all of his concerts right now. So I'd have them all in the queue, and then he lets me know when he wants me to post them. And I'm like, and you got all the concerts, right? And he's like,
nope.
He says, I've got the people I want, but they haven't signed any contracts yet. So I'm not going to talk about anybody. He gave us some hints about people, but we're not.
But what he does is he gets a feel of who he wants, and he just sends all these contracts out to all these people. And as they start coming in, then that's when he starts announcing them. So until he gets the contract back in his hand, so he's going to have 7 concerts, right? And he's got 35 contracts out.
So he puts them all out and tells people, hey, I want to hire you. One of these guys, he actually spent time with them over a weekend with one of these big bands. And I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe you. Well, if he gets this band, that's what's going to happen. That's why I think we can get a meet and greet for our special people that come in on that Saturday, first Saturday. Because if this big band comes, they should be playing the big concert night. So we'll see. And I'm not going to say nothing because I'm not going to say, just like we said, that we based this on a video we put out last year that Leonard Skinner was going to be there because they wanted to be there for their 50th anniversary, because 50 years since they put out the first album was on August 13th. So they would love to play at the Buffalo Chip on their anniversary. Well, when we mentioned that to Rod, he was like, is it really their 50th? So if you were in the video.
So he made a little note.
He wrote it down. So is he going to call him? Is he going to set it up? I don't know. But hopefully it'd be kind of neat, because normally.
But that's the last Sunday, I think.
Yeah. Normally.
That's the 13th, I think.
Let's let you know, he normally does not bring back somebody from the same year. So, like, let's say Shine died, or well, who was the crazy guy?
Oh, Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie was there. There's no way in God's green earth he's going to bring Rob Zombie back this year in 2023. Now, he might bring him back in 2024, but he will never have him there the next. He doesn't like to bring the same bands back to back.
But Leonard Skinner may be exception to that rule.
Just because of the 50th.
Yes.
But I'm not saying he is or not, because it's his decision. Because that's why I asked him. I said, who makes the decisions? Because he's got a lot of people work for him. He says, I do. So, okay. Well, tell us when you know it. So it's kind of neat. And we gave him some suggestions, and he wrote them down of bands that we some of you have been recommending on our big Facebook page. You can put that up. And we got a thing now saying to put some pictures up on there of your of last year. If you were in Sturgis 2022, post a picture and post it on there. So that's our big Facebook page. I run that. Mike helps me. Was Mike on the night?
No, I think it's him.
He might be driving.
Well, Patsy, and I don't know if that's Mike's Patsy or not that's been on.
No.
Because she said she needed to talk to me. So I think that's Mike's
Probably.
Patsy. I don't know.
So
I think.
So yeah, we have a lot of couples that come on here that the husband's got a YouTube channel or has a YouTube account, and the wife's got a YouTube account. Sometimes they'll be on, and it's like, okay, aren't you guys together? But we do that too. Like a lot of times she'll be commenting, I'll be commenting, and we both come up as Bob and Tam. So you don't always know who. I normally answer most of the comments, but she does some. So that's pretty nice. Anything else on my list?
Just the things you were talking about doing, like one tech day, one Sturgis day,
so
one
that's one
garage
of the
day,
things. I don't know if we had very many people ask that question or answered that question. We're thinking about doing a tech day where one video a week would be, like, let's say Mondays. Mondays would be tech day. So it's going to be something that we talk about that's either a product that we use that we'll give you a link to where you can buy it at. And of course we make a little bit of money on it, but it's all the things that I'll recommend is stuff that either you guys have recommended to us, which I ask you all the time. You can send it to contact us at bobandtams.com. You can send us an email and say, hey, I buy this from Amazon, or I get it from Harley Davidson. I really love this product. You ought to check it out. And so we've got some things like that we use that we're going to recommend. We're going to talk about some other things that we have bought that I see on the internet people asking about. So we're going to talk about, like, rain suits. She has one rain suit and I have another rain suit. And we bought cheap ones before and they were junk. So we're going to talk about our 2 rain suits that we have, that we've actually had them probably, 5 or 6 years now. We've had our rain suits.
Yeah.
And been in the rain several times with them. And I hold up really good. And we'll talk about those 2 products on one of our Tech Talk. And we'll talk about parts to put on your bike and stuff like that. And we're going to lead into this after the first of the year. Once the shop gets all built, you have an opportunity to come here and get free stuff for your bike. So we have some companies out here that want to give us product to demo and talk about and install and show people how to install it. And we're going to give that stuff away to you. So there's a few things I want, but other than that, I don't want a bunch of junk on my bike. And I don't want to be somebody that's actually, there's too many guys out here that all they do is sell stuff on their YouTube channel. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be here just look at what I'm selling. And makes you a lot of money, but I don't want to do it. So we're thinking about doing 1 day a week. Would be a tech day. Be more or less something we're trying to sell you, something that we use, something that we like,
or something that we
new
want to show
product.
you. Yeah.
And you don't have
We've
to
heard
buy
about.
it, but if you want to, you can go to the link and we make a little bit of money off of that. We also want to do a garage day. We're going to talk once a week about, hey, here's what we've done this week on the garage. Here's where we're at. Here's what's going on. Da 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 da. Things like that. So we'll do a day like that. We'll do a live once a week, which is what we do now. What else did I have on my list? There was something
That
else.
was it. No.
There's only 3 things.
No, 4. 4 out of 7. Tech Day, Sturgis Day, Garage Day.
Oh, Sturgis Day. We didn't say that.
Oh.
Sturgis Day. We want to do a video once a week on Sturgis because with all of it, that's why we went to Sturgis a week or 2 ago, is to make contacts with. There's only 3 people that actually are looking at 2023 Rally
right now.
Actually, there's only 2 right now. One is the city of Sturgis and the Buffalo Chip. Come the first of the year, Indian will start working on their project, and so will the dealership. They don't really start till the first of the year either. Actually, later than that, like March. But they don't have bands and stuff playing there, so they're not the same. They're more vendors. So we're going to be able to, and we got about another video all about that I haven't even shown you yet that we got from up there while we were there. We've got a lot of stuff to still show you. So that's why we're trying to get these certain days, because if I know, hey, every Thursday now is going to be Sturgis Day. So we'll be showing you videos on Sturgis, stuff that's going on at the Buffalo Chip, stuff that the city's deciding on. You know, the Buffalo Chip has got some major things that are this close to getting. They're waiting for the signing of contracts. And if this stuff gets, not just fans, they've got some really big, giant events that they're so close that one was there while we were there. So we kind of know what it is, but we're not going to say nothing because it's not done yet. So if I said, hey, they're doing this,
they're doing it.
And well, it's just like the dealership, which there's nothing, nobody said nothing, but this is just what they said. The guy that now owns the dealer, not yet, next week or so it'll be sold. The guy that buys it owns 7 NASCAR tracks all around the United States, one right here in Las Vegas. And so what's going to happen probably next year in 2023? You're probably going to see some NASCAR drivers and some NASCARs are going to show up at Black Hills Harley. And you're going to see other products coming in, like you might see Monster coming in with their stuff, with selling their drinks or bringing that Monster truck out like they did in Daytona.
And a lot of advertising probably for the Sturgis Rally at the NASCAR races.
That's right. So we might be getting a whole lot more people coming to the Sturgis Rally. So that's some really good stuff that could come out of somebody new buying it that has another avenue. So yes, there's a good chance that maybe the guy that wins Talladega or wins NASCAR racing this year might be at the Black Hills Harley in 2023 for a guest appearance for that'd be neat.
Yep.
That'd be something kind of neat. Brings in other people that maybe wouldn't be motorcycle people.
We got to see Rusty Wallace down in Daytona. Yep.
Which is great for us. A lot of people don't know who Rusty Wallace is, but it's neat for us because it's like Sons of Speed. We've got a full. They wanted us to do it last year, and we didn't. Luckily, they didn't have the races anyway because of the floods and stuff. But they loved us too. It's actually one of our subscribers is actually the guy that puts it on.
Andy.
And I don't give everybody's name. And so so we got to call him and say, hey, we're going to be down there, and they have all kinds of events going on besides just the Sons of Speed's race. So we want to be there. They said, you want to be involved with all this other stuff we do during that time? I'm like, sure. Be more fun to do. Be something different to bring to me, which I had no idea. I'm going to eventually do that video over. Go back and watch our Sons of Speeds video.
Adam had all that list of stuff to do.
If you know anything about racing motorcycles, you need to watch the Sons of Speed. Everybody we interviewed was somebody very, very important in the motorcycle. I seen one of these YouTubers the other day said, oh, I met Billy Lane and I met this Perowitz. We met all those people. We met the dad. We met so many freaking people. I didn't know. I'm not a big motorcycle race guy. So I didn't know. I knew a few people. I knew the Perowitz and I knew Billy Lane. We knew who he was. And I knew a few other people. But these other people we talked to, they're like, well, you need to go talk to them. So I went over there and talked to them. Well, after I did the video, I thought, I'm going to look up some of these people's names. Holy crap. This guy's been building bikes for like the last 40 years, building racing bikes. He just retired this last year. It was his last race. Now his kids are running the business. I'm like, holy crap. This guy was somebody that important, and we got his interview. And it blew me away. And if you're anything into racing, go back and watch that video. It's in 2021 where we interviewed the Sons of Speeds. We were there for the race, and we only were there for a short time because we had something else going on. But this year, we will be there for the full, from start to finish.
That's the only thing bad about Daytona, because I think it's like opening day or something, and everybody wants to do something big. So we were trying to do like 10 things in that
I think
one
they had
day.
a bike show was going on at Destination Daytona. We were trying to get over there.
Something was going on at the dog.
Well, we're getting which we're already figuring in Sturgis during Buffalo Chip week. We're going to, which is, I'm probably going to be doing the Legends ride and the Buffalo and Rusty Wallace ride by myself. She'll probably be at the Chip filming all the stuff that's going on there because they have the girls, the Bells was going on the same day that.
That's Tuesday, Topless Tuesday.
Yeah, which we'll be there for Topless. We're not doing Topless Tuesday. We got another guy going to Topless Tuesday, so we'll have footage, but we just won't be there. So we will. There's a lot of things. If you're one of these people that says, I can't afford to go in, which Neil's like that. Neil can't justify going into the Buffalo Chip. He can't afford to buy a pass. And I understand that. And there's people like that can't afford to spend that extra money. They're not in the concerts or anything like that. But we will be doing things up front too. There's 12 bike shows up there. Those are all free. The Wall of Death is free. The stunt show's free. The bar's not free. It's free to get in.
Yeah.
All that's free going on up front. We will be up there. The girls doing the bikini wash. We are up there on a regular basis. So we will have events that we say, hey, on this day, Wednesday, and I'm not saying it's going to be Wednesday. Wednesday, we'll be up front for this. We go up there every day for the bikini wash, no matter what. We film those girls every day because they change out. All the girls that are in the contest are who does the bikes. So we get up there and film.
I think they're up there 3 or 4 hours, and
but it's going to be really great this year if you're staying all the way to the end. Those girls, probably all of them, are going to be on our channel on a live for you guys to talk to and get a little personal with them versus just seeing them on a stage. So you can kind of pick your favorites out. We got to talk to Rod and see how they vote for that.
We were at the same gas station with him, but his car broke down, and he wasn't a very pleasant man to go over and talk to because he was having a fit about his car. And we really wanted to know if Sandra Bullock was with him, because that's when they were married, but she wasn't with him. But yes, we didn't get to meet him face to face, but we were at the same.
One of the things that we didn't realize after we talked to Rod for the Buffalo Chip, he knows a lot, which we do. We have several people that are really big into the bike industry that help us out left and right. And all we got to do is call up and say, hey, we want to do this. Oh, here's a phone number. Call this person. Tell them I sent you. And you get on there and say, oh, yeah, so-and-so sent me. Oh, really? Come on.
When we were trying to get in, I think, to see the Sons of Speed, we called a few people, and they
kept blowing us off.
They said, call this person. And I said, okay. So I called, and a few minutes later, the phone rang. Hey, this is so-and-so. I'm like, oh, okay.
And then we started trying to explain them what we do. You're like, I watch your channel.
I'm a subscriber.
Which is great. John that runs J&P Cycles in Daytona, he's the same way. We just called him the other day to ask him some questions. I wanted to ask him about the rally, how it turned out. And that's what he said. I started telling him about the garage. He's like, oh, yeah, you already got that done. You got that done. You got that done. I'm like, oh, that's right. You're watching that shit. But see, we just assume that a lot of people that are big, like the Monkey Man, he's not a subscriber to our channel, but he does click in now and then and check out our channel. I actually subscribe to his channel. And
I think you said he was a subscriber.
No, I look for him. He's not on there. And but he does watch our channel because he'll make comments every once in a while about we're somewhere or we did this, or when we met him, he's like, yeah, I seen you the other day. You guys were over. So he had to see the channel to see it, or at least seen the thumbnail. We don't watch even Adam. I don't watch all of his videos either. We just don't have time because we're doing all this stuff. We're trying to give you guys good content and try to think about what we're doing next. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to broaden our horizon. Because what happens is when we're not covering motorcycle rallies, our videos kind of go to crap in a handbag. So that's why we're looking at Sturgis is the number one. If you've never been to Sturgis, it's on your bucket list. You've got to go. And if you never go to a rally ever in your life, you definitely want to go to Sturgis. Heck, this year, bring your freaking car. If you don't know how to ride a motorcycle, they're going to have free classes to teach you how to ride a bike. Motorcycle, that is. They're going to have little classes for the little kids to ride the little striker bikes. And so there's a whole bunch of neat stuff. They're going to have races on the last Saturday downtown, racing on Main Street. Can you believe that? And they're looking to bring people from all over the world to do that. All that Saturday is going to be street racing.
And they're going to have all different kinds of classifications, all different age groups. So it's going to be all day. It's not going to be like one race and it's over.
Yeah.
It's
so that's going to be a
day.
really, which is, we've got to be at the Buffalo Chip, so she's probably going to be down. One of us are going to be there. Because we found out we can get on the roof of a couple buildings. They told us we got permission to get on the roofs. So we can get some really great shots. And so it's really neat, and we love that. And we got a bunch of interviews coming up this year. All these people, like from the city, they're going to be coming on. We're hoping to get the chief on a live one evening. We'll have him come on. You guys can ask him questions. Don't get stupid with him, but you're more than ask the typical questions and stuff. And but I mean, that'd be really neat to have the chief. Chief's never been on a live. He's a great guy, and we got him on video the other day. We were there, and we walked in the door, and we knocked on the door and asked the chief was in. He's like, yeah. And they said, can we talk to the chief? Well, who is it? And I told him who we are, and he said, we'll sit down and be about 10 minutes. I'm like, that's fine. He's probably on the phone or something. Well, he had somebody in the office. She's seen that when we walked up. You can see him. There was somebody in his office. So when the guy left, we walked in. And so we chatted with him a few seconds.
Meeting day or something. He was meeting, I guess, with all of his employees.
Yeah. So it ended up being that I said, well, we just want to do a shout out for one of our videos we do for Sturgis coming up this year that welcome everybody out to the 83rd Sturgis Rally. And he's like, okay, you want to do it now? No, let's talk a while. So you want to just talk, just kind of loosen up, relax a little bit. Wasn't perfect, but he did better, and he will. He'll get better and better and better. He smiled a little bit, and he's not so serious.
He's a very nice guy,
and it's really great. Ormond Chief of Police is the same way. It was really a great interviews we got. We're hoping to get more police officers, and there's some other YouTubers that are jumping in trying to get police officers too. Go ahead. We're not stopping anybody. We're happy to help anybody.
Enough room out there for everybody.
And
Kiwi and Twerp said they're going to go to Sturgis tomorrow. They're going to be there for a week. They're picking up all their information for the Buffalo Chip. Thanks for telling us.
All right. And but yeah, I Buffalo Chip is just really, which it is. All of Sturgis is that way. The people, not saying the people that all the vendors that are coming in and stuff, but what makes Sturgis what it is the people that live there and survive there. They've been it's going to be freaking 25 degrees there today. They're surviving, aren't they? You wouldn't be surviving, would you?
No,
there you go. They're surviving. And to live there, and the people are so nice. And I never seen that. And that's why we emphasize this so much. I never seen this until we spent 40 to 50 days there these last couple of years. And that's not combination years. We spend that much time every year. These last 3 years, we've been there over 40 days every year. And to be there and talk to people that live there. And which we do, and the riding that's there. We call this God's country. The people that live there and the riding. It's if you don't believe in God, you go to a place like that, or just like we went to California, even though it's California.
It'll make a believer out of you.
You go through the redwoods and stuff. You look at stuff like that, and you know there's got to be somebody that made all this stuff like this, to see this. But to see the people like that, and then when you go there, it's kind of like what Adam said when he's like up in Laconia. Sometimes there's people that kind of got an attitude. Sometimes you can get that from Daytona. You get the people from New York. Not all New Yorkers are that way. I had a guy, that's what happened. I was at someplace, the guy was talking about, he wanted to put his full dress Harley on the back of his bumper on his trailer. And I'm like, you can't do that. The bumper will fall off. You need to reinforce it. And the guy was arguing with me. And I'm like, dude, the bumper's held on like 2 bolts. You put the motorcycle in there, it's going to fall off. The bumper's going to come off the back of your motor home or your camper or whatever you got it on. And the guy who tapped me next to me, and he goes, he's from New York.
Give up.
I'm like, all right. So yeah. So there is those people. But when you go to Sturgis, it just seems like you don't really see too many butthole people. Most of the people are really, even if you came there with a bad attitude, it's really hard to keep a bad attitude. And there is some, because they're bringing people into work that aren't from the area, so you can run into that. I mean, this last year with the police, I seen a lot of those cops out there. They're laughing with people, talking, taking pictures. We seen them get some people with open containers, and they told them the rule, and they made them dump them out, throw the cans in the trash. And that may change this year if you watch the video. Yeah. And because that needs to, they've been warning people, and got to buy one of the stupid cups. And you buy the cup, you can bring it back every year, same cup.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all we got for tonight. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. A little longer, actually. The lights all stayed on. We got the generator running out here. I got a power pack here. I'm down to 16. Running the computer because I didn't want to. I think I burned my compressor up with the generator.
Must have the wrong kind of power. I don't know.
It's 350 watts or whatever it is, and so it should have been fine. But when it was running, it was making weird noise. Might have just been. I've had a compressor for a long time. It's a Sears. After I take it apart, stupid thing's all one piece. And of course, you can't buy any parts for the stupid thing. So when my brother comes out, he'll look at it, or I got to find somebody that works on electrical motors. Probably the brushes or something went bad in it. I'm not a motor not electrical motor guy. So with that, I guess no more questions.
Nope.
So we have
66 people on.
Oh, we actually still had somebody on, huh?
Yeah, they didn't all leave when Adam left.
I just figured we were down to 71 a while ago when Adam was still on. So we didn't lose that many of you. Still kind of, we appreciate all that. It's kind of neat. We're in the garage. I didn't really get a chance to show you. It's dark, the rest of the garage, because there's no lights in here other than ones we just brought in. These are our studio lights.
Show him Charlie. Charlie, want to come up here and see him? Charlie? Charlie. He's sleeping. He says, I'm tired.
Well, he's been up all day. Because we picked him up in California, came back over here.
That's why I keep yawning. He gets up at 5 and he says, if you want to see other grandkids, we got to get up now and go. I wasn't planning on getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Of course, we gained an hour here now, so it's an hour later. We normally would start at 5 because we're in Arizona and they run off of Indian time.
We lost an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, we lost an hour. But I mean, now it's a different hour. It's an hour ahead. So we lost an hour by coming back home. So now it's actually, we normally would have started at 5.
Time
so now we're quitting.
Pacific time.
So now we're quitting it at
it should be, we started at 6, so it should be 8, but now it's probably almost 9.
It's 8:30.
So CMT Awards are on tonight, so go watch your favorite country people.
I don't watch it anymore.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Two Wheel and Tom used to be one down and then up. Thanks y'all for spending time with us and sharing your knowledge and travels. I do appreciate it. Well, thank you. We appreciate you too. Good night, you too. Get some sleep. So Mike's got my number. You can call me anytime you want, Patsy. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We love you all. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Think about Patreon. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you on the next video. And prayers for all those guys down there in Florida.
Yeah.
Another hurricane coming towards you. Hopefully it won't be bad.
It's only going to be a 1, which is better than a 5 coming
through. Eugene.
And but I mean, it could be better if it was just a tropical.
I
mean, that's the price living in Florida. Outside California, you get the fires
and the earthquakes. Catch you next vid. Bye, Rick.
Midwest,
and don't forget, if you're not subscribed to Amsoil Adam, go check him out.
Check him out. Let's get him up to 10,000.
Let's
go over there, click on that, get him up there, and make him a happy guy. He's been really working hard to get that 10,000.
And you might get a set of free love jugs out of it.
You'll even put them on, he said.
There you go.
Free install. Come to a rally.
So
I got a lot of really neat stuff coming up. I got a lot of videos. I'm going to try to make I didn't realize Veterans Day was Friday. I got a video I need to put together, the flags and a whole bunch of neat stuff. And I'm going to need to get that together, but I don't know when I'm going to do it now because tomorrow's Thursday and we're taking a bike out there. So I don't know. We may not be able to, might have a delayed Veterans Day video.
Maybe it'll be a Veterans Day.
I've already got my videos all done all the way up to Saturday. I think I'm done.
Yeah. So he didn't have to work on them while we were out there with the boys.
Well, I did.
We had a lot of fun with the boys.
I finished it. But my son-in-law is the one that makes commercials.
Yeah.
And so his upload speed, if any of
500 and something.
538 up. Like, holy crap.
He was a happy camper.
His download was only like 200, which is what I have at home, but I never have. I'm lucky to get 50 going up. Here we got like 10.
He said, send, boop, it was gone.
Yeah, the video, I uploaded a video and I was like, I just saw it because it was Sunday morning. I think I did it on Sunday. I uploaded it Sunday. And I thought it would be, it went up really quick because I probably know he was uploading. I didn't realize he had that kind of freaking speed. I should have done more videos, but I just didn't have time to do it. I relaxed a little bit.
He did.
Watching TV. Stupid shows, but. All right, we're done.
All righty. Thanks a lot. See you guys later. Take care. Bye.